It's time to add some spice to your nooner. Nooner funny. This is the place where big-time guests, bold opinions, and little cute doggies come together. This is Rothman and Ice.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus, the #1 rated windows and doors in Columbus.
So where's the office, back at Division? Yeah, in the office, baby. Going out.
All right, outstanding to have you with us today. Cruising into the weekend, Rothman and Ice, Anthony Rothman, Matty Ice Hayes, and the Loose Cannon. How you feeling, boys?
It's a Freaky Friday, my guy. I can't help but feel really, really good. And I'm here with you. I'm here with TLC. I'm here with our wonderful listeners. So life is good, man. How you doing? You good today?
Yes,
yeah?
I am. I'm a little worried about the weather, though. I'm a little worried about the golfing future in this town. Although I've always said, as you've known many times, 3 seasons in Ohio, cold, wet, and hot. That's what we get
this weekend,
well,
right?
We are in the wet season, the wetlands.
I'm a little concerned because I'm supposed to go down to GABP tomorrow to catch my Reds taking on those Washington Nats. In the forecast, the temperature I'm here for, mid-60s, like that works all day. And tomorrow for me, but there's like a 90% chance of rain down there in the Natty.
Just 90?
Yeah. So listen, regardless, rain or not, Reds game or not, I will be at the Holy Grail tomorrow with the Queen Bee and with my 2 friends, and we're going to have a heck of a time. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully I get to see Nick Lodolo spin the pill down there tomorrow.
I see what happened here.
Yeah.
I invited you. Not going to happen.
No. See,
somebody else. I invite you, limousine, pay for tickets, Lexus seats. Nope, can't make it.
I had to stand my ground.
Mm-hmm.
I had to stand my ground, which I thought you would have. And I think you do respect that I stood my ground when old Castellini came out prior to that season and said to all of us Reds fans, well, where else you going to go? Where else you going to go? So I had to show him that I'm going elsewhere. So you tempting me with those amazing seats, the limo with champagne and charcuterie on the ride down the whole way, that was very tempting. And I appreciate you looking out for me, but I had to show him that I was not messing around, and you ain't getting my money for a whole year.
All right. So the bottom line is you're not a sellout, which is great. It's great to know. But I realize that now I know where I am in the rankings, which is okay. We got a nice show for you today. We'll hit a little pressure cooker. We got overs and unders this hour. We'll get into some chin music with those Ohio baseball teams with our boy Jensen Lewis at 2:30. I did listen to E and the boys right before we came on. He had mentioned that Abdul Carter going to the Giants, and when he said that Phil Simms, and I haven't heard this yet, that Phil Simms said that I would be more than happy to give up, or whatever he said, we'll hear it, the number 11 if he wants to wear that. And so I'm very curious to hear the context of this, because this was my feeling on it before I've heard it. That Simms almost subtly is saying, I'll give it up, but you got to ask me first.
Come bend the knee.
It feels like not bend the knee.
Bend the
knee.
knee.
Had a little Colonel Jessup to it. I'll give you the transfer order, but you got to ask me nicely. Like, this isn't a Giants decision, apparently. It's a Phil Simms decision, and that's a whole other conversation on whether it's the player because Lawrence Taylor, what was the one? I'm trying to think. He had a request to bring his iconic 56 out of retirement. And I've got to remember why. And then Simms has thrown number 11 into the ring. And so we have this soundbite from Phil Simms, TLC.
Cam Ward did get Warren Moon to turn in his retired number 1, so he'll be wearing that. The Giants draft, like you said, Abdul Carter, and he had the nerve to ask LT for his legendary 56. LT told Abdul to go to hell. He's lucky the reaction wasn't more severe. Where are you on this? What if Jackson Dart wants your number 11? Would you take it?
Hey, look, I told some of my friends and people around me, I said, I'd let him have it in a second. I said, can you just help it a little and make it better or whatever? I think it would be a lot of fun. It wouldn't bother me. But
would you really? Really, though? I mean, that's a pretty big honor, the 11. You're not going to give it up, right? Yeah.
It's just, whatever. I don't know. I just go, if they really want it. But my wife, I don't know if my family said anything. The boys didn't say anything. But my agent, don't you dare give up that jersey number. Well, first off, Bill Carter's going to ask for it. But if he would have, if it was up to me, I probably would give it to him.
All right, so I got confused because he threw out Jackson Dart, which would make sense to the quarterback. But Carter wore 11 at Penn State.
Yep.
So that's the player that would be asking. You can't get that. Where was Jackson Dart picked?
26,
okay.
I believe.
I don't. Maybe first round is the cutoff, where you're allowed to ask for a Legends number. But if you're coming in second, third round, I'm sorry. You get whatever the equipment manager is going to get, whatever is available. But if you're first, do you have a cutoff? Is it first round or is it top 5 or
I kind of like where you're at. Like, you got to be a first round pick, I believe, to enter the conversation.
Enter the conversation.
Yeah,
right.
to ask a legendary player for said franchise, can I rock the number? The Lawrence Taylor part of that is absolutely hilarious. That he's already told him to kick rocks and like don't even think about asking me again. Like, there's no way I'm giving up 56. I thought it was really cool.
Why did Carter ask for 56? Just because he wanted LT's number?
Because he wanted to take the number 11 tradition at Penn State and make it a number 56 tradition with the Giants.
But to kind of just live up to LT's history, like as a kind of an homage to him,
to just keep
I'm the next guy.
Keep the line going.
Okay, they're calling me like the next LT, and I want to wear your jersey.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton.
He probably assumes he's going to be successful. I don't think he enters the league thinking, "Man, I might suck."
So you're saying that Abdul Carter was saying, or that LT was saying, it would not be an honor for you to wear my jersey.
Correct. You ain't that guy. You ain't that guy, pal.
All right, so now we heard the tone in Sims. You know, he was giving himself a little bit of an out. Did you hear it? It was, I'm not really sure what my family thinks.
Well, his family was saying no. Yeah. That's what he said. His family and his agent were saying, don't give it up. And he said,
that's what I mean. Yeah. Like, what I mean is that he's giving himself a little bit of an out, and that, well, when was it their decision? But he did eventually come around and said, if he asks, I'll give it up.
Yeah. And listen, I think it's cool when the numbers do get handed down like that. Like, I love that Warren Moon surprised Cam Ward at his out-of-the-gate press conference and say, here's that number 1 for you, young fella.
Can I ask you something about that, though? Because he never played for the Tennessee Titans. He played for the Houston Oilers. So, like, technically, that uniform hasn't been worn in Tennessee, and he didn't wear it in Tennessee.
It's under, I hear what you're saying. It's under the same umbrella.
You wore the same number, though.
Yeah, right? But in a different uniform.
Different uni.
He never wore a Titans, not the two-tone blue.
So Bruce Matthews, we had him on yesterday, Hall of Famer.
He did play for the Titans.
That's right, Houston and Tennessee.
Played 19 years.
So you're
crazy
in the trenches.
It's wild.
All positions.
Absolutely wild.
What is that?
Right.
Here's the Iron Man.
Yep.
Okay, so Sims is on board with you got to ask me nicely. I think that was the moral of the story. Is that it is my decision, not the Giants, and it's not Abdul's decision. I'm up there to bring it down. You gotta talk to me.
You know who I think would be another guy that would take the path of Lawrence Taylor and tell a young guy to kick rocks would be Jordan. I think if anybody ever approached Michael Jordan and said, hey, Unc.
With Chicago.
Okay. Unc, hey, listen, you're my guy. I idolize you. I'm going to be the next one. What do you think about me rocking that 23? Michael Jordan might smack him in the face. He might smack him in the face. He's punched his own teammates in the face. What did he do? He smacked Malik Monk in the back of the head when he was playing for the Charlotte Hornets.
I forgot about that.
Mike's putting the paws on a rookie if he asks for 23.
Who would be the rookie who would ask for it, too? Well, Anthony Edwards, probably.
He would have the you-know-what to do it. Anthony Edwards would. He would. But MJ ain't having that, AR.
LeBron wore 6 for Russell, 23 for Mike.
That sounds correct.
Is that right?
That sounds correct.
Yeah. Isn't it ironic that it's kind of a similar situation when LeBron come in and wants 23 because of Mike?
Yeah.
Yet the irony is that this debate will rage for a long time.
To the end of time.
Like, that's, most guys want to kind of stake their own claim.
Oh, yeah.
I got my own. Now, there's only so many numbers. We get that.
Right.
So, That's interesting. All right, so Sims is on record. If he wants it, he's got it.
He's got it. Just come correct.
So I assume he's going to do it.
Yeah, just come correct. Hey, Mr. Sims, what do you think? Do you have to buy him a gift, AR? How's that work?
Well, there was a money thing occasionally amongst teammates, I think. There was something there.
If I'm Jackson Dart or Abdul Carter, I got to wine and dine Sims. We got to go get a nice steak, have some wine. You got to give him something. It just can't be.
Here's the other part of it that I just thought of. It's a lot easier, I think, to give up my number to a defensive guy if I was a quarterback versus another quarterback.
Okay.
Or am I thinking of it in reverse?
So you're saying
that Jackson Dart will never live up to the 11, so go ahead and have it.
Have at it.
Whereas Abdul could make it more famous, and then it kind of expunges my legacy. Would I rather have a guy who I don't think's going to live up to it wear it because it'll always keep me alive?
Probably.
But if I give it to a guy who's equally talented or more, then I'm going to be forgotten sooner.
Yeah.
All right, Sims. Lie down on the couch, buddy. We'll get you right. All right, we'll get you right here today. And speaking of NFL, current NFL, what's up with Trey Hendrickson? And Maddie, did a certain team's draft decision ignite something possible here in the trade market? We'll tell you next. Off and running, Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
Big voice guy here to remind you that you're listening to the Fan, Ohio sports destination. Okay, thanks. I have 3 more seconds. Bye-bye.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection, one that helps better their everyday through the things they value most: friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
It's a different world today than it was 30 years ago when I started Care Heating and Cooling. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, 30 years ago, you were the first to warn of companies using service technicians as salespeople, of abusing the trust that a service technician has. With the big conglomerates now buying companies all over Central Ohio, this has become the normal business model.
It's all about greed. The conglomerates know they can make a lot more money by incentivizing their technicians to sell air conditioners instead of fixing them. They train their techs to take advantage of a customer when they are the most vulnerable.
Dad, that is not how we were taught. In 2024, Care Heating and Cooling was awarded a BBB Torch Award for ethics and was named the Lennox Partner of the Year. You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and, of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. Our low prices add up to big savings, plus over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Right now, you can save on fresh medium avocados or delicious honey mangoes. Just 69 cents each with your digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Bobby Carpenter is packing up morning juice and headed to YouTube. Catch Bobby and Tito on the Fan's YouTube page weekday mornings from 6 to 8.
All the fun starts on May 12th.
More Bobby, less commercials. Attack and dominate the Fan.
Proper tree care is an investment that can lead to substantial returns and increased personal enjoyment. Hiring a certified arborist can help care for your trees and add considerable value to your property. Inspections by Ohio ISA certified arborists can often find and mitigate tree defects before they fail. Only professionals with specialized knowledge and training are properly equipped to provide appropriate care. To find an arborist, visit trees4ohio.org. That's trees4ohio.org.
This is Pause Before You Play, and it's time for more game day picks from local sports fans. You're on the air. Who you got?
Actually, I'm not betting, just chilling and watching the game.
I know that move. A pause. Sounds like you've got a winning strategy.
Exactly. After I set limits and recognized the risk, I knew it was time to stop.
Now that is responsible betting, folks. Sports are fast. Betting shouldn't be. Make a plan at pausebeforeyouplay.org. That's pausebeforeyouplay.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
More scattered showers and storms this afternoon. Some could be gusty, so stay weather aware. Temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. We'll watch rain chances turn to storms again tonight. Some that could be strong to severe. Better chance, in fact, in the afternoon. 10 TV Weather Impact Alert Day will be in place. Rain chances and 60s continue through the weekend. Lingering showers next week. That's your latest 10 Weather Impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365, the official online sports book of Rothman and Ice. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hitting a hole in one into your ear hole. Ew. This is Rothman and Ice.
All right. This is where we are with how deep is your love. This is how deep we are with the Belichick Jordan Hudson thing. That you have sports lawyers that are now tweeting out if Belichick didn't want to discuss Jordan Hudson in his CBS interview, he should have demanded a contract with CBS. The U.S. Supreme Court has enforced such contracts, but CBS would have never agreed to it. And there are columns on this now. People Magazine has done a deep dive into his past dating, which really isn't that deep. It's a 16-year relationship. Prior to that, a 30-year marriage, and that's it. Mm-hmm. And then it's best athlete on the board. We're drafting 24th, and we're picking Jordan Hudson. That's really what happened. So I just find it interesting now that we're talking about, you're marketing a book. Like, this shouldn't have been that difficult. How'd you meet? She's there. She's on site. She's in the corner calling the plays. Like, and I was the first one to say that if he wasn't dating her, this would have been as normal gets. I'm not saying it wouldn't have gone viral, but it would have been someone, hey, we're here to talk about the football. We're not here to talk about his personal life. That's not what we agreed to. So I think Bill has every right to feel ambushed a little, but if she's in the corner and she's there and she's also miking him up and making sure that hole in the sweatshirt is positioned properly, like, it's just, I think you invite it. I think that's what happened here.
There's one thing to be in the spotlight the way Bill has the majority of his life, being a coach and controlling the narratives more times than not with his BS answers and how he treated the media a lot in New England. This is a whole nother ball game. And for him, this has to be shaking the room, because this is the type of tension you don't want when you're Bill Belichick, because he's had the opposite energy his entire career. It's like, hey, you know what? No days off. Yeah. We're just going to work. It's on to Cincinnati.
Do your job.
And now you have people digging into your past, her past. Family members are getting involved in this type of stuff. So it's just messy. It's just messy. And that's why I say I don't know how long this dude's going to sign up for this type of stuff.
I don't know. I want to believe in them. I want to believe in him that he is, I don't care what people think. Like, I want to believe those words that he uttered. He didn't shut down the interview. She did. Yeah. That's the difference here. I think he may have answered it. I can't remember exactly the pregnant pause. Sorry for that word. The pregnant pause that happened between with the question and her answering. Maybe he would have answered it. I don't know. But I think that's where this thing goes off the rails. It might have been just a very simple answer. Now, I'm not saying the interviewer wouldn't have advanced the questioning into something more personal. I don't know. But it seemed like it was pretty soft serve.
Yeah.
How'd you meet? We're just interested. People are invested. How'd you meet? Was it really on the plane? Was that the first time? Or, who knows? All right. So I wanted to mention this to you and get your take on this. We'll hear Diana Rossini, first of all, on her take on what's going on with Trey Hendrickson. We have now the draft has come and gone. Like, you've got this soon to be 31-year-old sack master that you would think would be important to this team that's in a winning window. Certainly in the AFC, they've got to be top 5, top 4. And it seems like we know what the Bengals' view of this is. They feel like whatever offer they gave him, he should like it and take it. Here's Diana Rossini now on where the situation is.
So most people, I think, were looking at them drafting Shamar Stewart as this is the end of the Trey Hendrickson era in Cincinnati. And Zach Taylor came out and was like essentially shooting that down of like, this doesn't mean anything. This just, we are supplying the needs that we have on this roster. So I did a little digging on it, and I'm still getting really good vibes coming out of Cincy that they're going to try to get a deal done with Trey. They seem to be trying to move money and get creative with finding ways to get Trey the money. That
is he going to take a hometown discount?
How can you look at this and think he's not going to? And I'm sure his side, if they heard this right now, they'd tell me to shut up. We're not taking a hometown discount.
Yeah. But you're realistic. Mostly.
But I think he wants to be there. They want him there.
Joe Burrow wants him to be there.
Who's the most important person in Cincinnati? I think we figured it out pretty quickly here. We knew it a while ago. But I think this really doubles down that, with Burrow being adamant about them bringing him back. Chase, Higgins, and him, they're going to want to keep Joe happy.
I'll tell you this. First of all, don't put Jamar Chase in there. He was getting signed no matter what.
They had no choice.
There was no matter what.
No
so he
choice.
does not get credit because Joe wants Jamar. He got signed. Come on. He's perhaps one of the best, if not the best guy.
Higgins one that Burrow gets credit for.
Which is fine. He can get credit for that. We can give him credit for that. But I've been in a world where I've seen Jordy Nelson get traded and Jimmy Graham get traded, and they haven't gone to those Hall of Fame quarterbacks and said, hey, what do you think? They dealt them. I've always thought that was a little odd. You wouldn't get their take on it, but you kind of automatically know what their take is. This is a defensive guy. They've leaned into offense here. So I want to run this by you. One team that's really making a move here didn't draft an edge rusher, and they're coming. And I'm thinking that the Bears would be one of those dudes. He's not going to be cheap, which why he wasn't traded when he was first given permission to seek a trade. But I'm wondering if the Bears, who missed the playoffs, but they have a playoff roster now, feel like he could be the ad. They did draft Turner in the second round, the defensive lineman, and he had 10 sacks in his college career, but you're talking about a guy who led the league in sacks last year.
I could completely understand why Chicago would want to bring Trey Hendrickson to Chi-Town. You pair him with Montez Sweat, and you're really on to something with a pass rushing duo. That's for sure. When I heard Diana Rossini and what she just said there on her podcast with Chase Daniel, to me, AR, that was heavily slanted from the front office's side of things, right? Hey, they want to get a deal done. The vibes seem to be pretty good. Well, of course, they're pretty good from the front office's side of things right now because they probably feel good about the offer that they've given to Trey. I don't know if that's her speaking for Trey Hendrickson in his camp. I didn't read it that way. And it's just a sticky situation because of what you mentioned and where he is age-wise and also the money that they've handed out. They've gone heavy on offense. I have no issue with that. Higgins, Chase, Burrow, those three together for years to come, they're going to be locked in one of the best offensive units in the sport. The problem is right now in Cincinnati, you don't have a replacement if you decide to move on from Trey Hendrickson that you feel confident in that's going to give you a high level of play coming off the edge. Whether it's the guy you just drafted in Shamar Stewart, who's got 4.5 sacks over 3 years in college, or the two guys that you brought back in Miles Murphy and Joseph Asai, who have been flashes in the pan with their consistency at best. Joseph Asai turned the corner a little bit at the back end. They're still waiting on Miles Murphy to pay off on that first-round draft pick that they went out and spent a few years ago. And so if you take him out of that room right now, then, man, that is asking a lot from guys that have not done much of anything in the league. And so it's two things pulling at the same time, I think, for Trey. Trey's looking around at the market right now and saying, Myles Garrett just got $40 million a year. Max Crosby just got big-time money. Daniil Hunter in Houston's getting paid $35 million a year. He views himself as that player, and he might be, based off of his productivity the last couple of years, leading the league in sacks with 17.5 last season. But the team is probably saying, dude, we don't know if we're getting that from you at ages 32, 33, and 34. So I would not be surprised if the years in this as well are a massive hang-up in this scenario, because maybe they are coming to the table with high-end money for a 2-year deal. And Trey's saying, I'm not doing that, because when I get to ages 33 and 34, there's not going to be a team that's willing to give me a long-term deal. So I got to do everything I can right now to get a deal that is 3 to 4 years.
I'm with you. I'm just thinking that I would have signed him, but I don't know what he was asking for. Yeah. So it's easy for me to say. I've said it many times. I'll say it again. Instead of strengthening a strength, I would not have weakened a weakness, which if you don't get him back, and I'll believe her good vibes. Maybe the good vibes are correct. That's great.
From whose side, though? Because I think that's the team side.
Well, I don't know. Blackburn already tipped the hand saying that he should be happy with what we gave him. So unless
that's what I'm saying. I don't think the good vibes are coming from Trey's side of this. That's just my guess.
Putting a little more pressure on him. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. They still need to improve that pass rush, even with him. And by the way, the guy they drafted, he's not a sack artist.
No.
Now, maybe it'll
come together,
yeah.
But the productivity was not there at the collegiate level, and you've also removed a solid player and a good leader in Sam Hubbard because of his retirement from that room as well.
Yeah, they're clearly a team now. The best defense is a great offense. That's who they are. They've leaned into it, and we'll see if we can get them all the way to the end. It might get you to an AFC title game. Will it get you a Lombardi? That's the difference. All right, we're going to come back in 2 minutes. And the eliteness of college football. Are we dancing into waters we knew we'd get into? And this whole expanded playoff, will there be any changes and tweaks? We'll hit it next. Rothman and Ice in the Fan.
Who is the most important person in Cincinnati?
Mother's Day is coming up fast and you don't want to drop the ball. Show the incredible moms in your life how much you love and appreciate them with a thoughtful gift from Pro Flowers. Ordering takes just minutes, and Pro Flowers' large selection of modern arrangements at affordable prices are sure to make you look like a gift-giving pro. Visit proflowers.com/sports or use the code SPORTS at checkout for $15 off your Mother's Day order. All Pro Flowers orders are backed by our 7-day freshness guarantee, so you can gift easy with Pro Flowers.
Quarterback Jordan Love isn't just on Green Bay's team. He's also on the American Family Insurance team. Because like us, he believes in dreaming fearlessly.
Just chase your dreams and don't let nobody hold you back.
And we help protect those dreams with the right coverage so you can
dream fearlessly.
American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Watching Clorox cleanup spray dissolve tough grime in the shower feels like...
Wait, this really just happened? I'm shocked. Underwear and everything?
It feels like being able to zip up your overpacked suitcase on the first try.
Smooth.
With Clorox, clean feels satisfying. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Rothman and Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Finding the sweet spot between the over and the under. You're listening to Rothman and Ice.
This is going to be won't be news to anybody, really, about the money that's being thrown around in college football to college football players. I think we're almost desensitized to it, maybe because we live in Columbus, Ohio. And we heard the number and 20 mil, and usually the response anytime you brought up 20 mil was, yeah, but what about the other teams? Yeah, they're all doing it. And Ohio State, one of the bigger spenders. Looks like Oregon is too. Texas coming to the table. But these are the usual suspects. Actually, you could make the case that Ohio State was slower to the table because I remember saying they probably never felt they had to. When this transition was going to NIL, we all didn't really know whether this was money under the table. Are the collectives recruiting the players? Are the coaches telling the collectives who they want? Go get him. This is my salary cap. This is what I have to spend on this guy. We think he's worth this to us. Come back and tell us whether he wants more, whatever. Like, I think that all was going on. It feels to me like it's now pretty much all above board in a way, and we're all desensitized to the money and God bless them. Someone was offering me or you, depending on the stakes and what you wanted to do with your life, these kids will make more money in 4 years in college than I'll make in a lifetime. It's great. That's awesome. And I hope they put it away and save it and be set for the rest of their lives, regardless of what happens with their post-college careers. But when asked who was the biggest spender in the class of 2025, a Big 12 NIL collective staffer, a Big 10 NIL collective staffer, and an ACC personnel staffer, I don't know whether they went out for drinks or beers or what, and just all got together.
Maybe both.
And said, Oregon, the Ducks, Puddles, one of the programs paying the most money to recruits. So it's Texas, Ohio State, A&M, always. We're all listed as big-time heavy hitters for NIL recruiting. So Oregon and Ohio State, they're the biggest spenders regardless. That's from a Big Ten rep. And then Texas and the Texas schools in general spent a ton. Crap ton, I think, was probably maybe more close to it. And then Texas finished with the number one ranked recruiting class. Oregon ranks 4. Ohio State, they say, ranks 5. If you want to believe all this stuff. Rounding out the top 5 is Georgia and Bama. So this is just going to be hammering home, Maddie, what we already know. And what I didn't know for sure until I saw it last year. Now, you may tell me it's a one-year sample and it's too early. But the college football playoff last year was slanted so much towards the underdog and giving them a shot at winning the big prize. You got a bye, you got better seeding that you may not have deserved, and they still couldn't sniff this thing. Like, when you think about it from Arizona State's standpoint and Boise, and who else am I missing? Oh, SMU. Yeah. So,
man. Because this thing.
No, SMU wasn't, because that was at Penn State. I should say Arizona State and Boise were the ones that got seeded 3 and 4. And still, now, Arizona State gave Texas a game. In fact, you could say they probably should have won the game.
Oh, Cam Scatabo. Dude was a dog.
And then they would have played Ohio State in the Cotton
and
Bowl.
got rolled.
You would think.
They would have got rolled.
Yeah. So even if they expand this thing, and I never was the college football will become college basketball and we will have Cinderella. But I also thought that maybe in a one-gamer, you never know. But it turned out, honestly, that the teams that got the buys or that were more rested or whatever actually worked in reverse. Because there was enough rest between. I had people telling me, hey, the best thing that ever happened is Ohio State did not make the Big Ten title. Now, I was never believing these people who were telling me in email, they lost to Michigan on purpose so they wouldn't have to go to the Big Ten title.
No way.
What?
No
Why
way.
did you use Dom Taberi's voice for that?
You're right. I probably
was a little Uncle Dom in there.
You're right.
Shout out to Uncle Dom.
30 years. What can I tell you? You know, some stuff kind of seeps in and doesn't go away. I've tried to get rid of it. I've tried to lance it, but it just doesn't happen.
This thing, AR, is always going to come down to Jimmy's and Joe's. The end of the day. The expanded playoff, I wasn't a huge fan of it, them dressing up just New Year's 6 games and trying to make us care more about, bowl games that didn't really matter that much. You put them in a bracket with a path to a national championship, and the buzz was definitely there. The games out of the gate were pretty disappointing, and I won't be surprised if that's a theme moving forward. We don't know. It's been one iteration of this college football playoff bracket, and we're probably getting expansion coming in the foreseeable future. But whether you're an SMU, whether you're an Arizona State, whether you're a Boise State, some of those programs, you can have a player like a Boise State did last year with an Ashton Genty, but outside of that, you're not coming into a playoff bracket with programs like Texas, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Oregon, Penn State, and running through that thing on your way to a national championship. I will be surprised if we see a team like that because roster construction at the end of the day matters. And that's why we talk so much about recruiting and now the transfer portal and how these teams are putting their rosters together, because top to bottom they just have more depth, and at the top they have elite depth across multiple positions the way Ohio State did a year ago. And so now we have this report out there from the Houston Chronicle that Texas, apparently the roster that we'll see this year is worth anywhere between $35 to $40 million. Again, just a report. Don't know how exact that is down to the dollars and the pennies and all of that stuff. But that's not a surprise. This is now the game that has to be played to a certain degree. Out there in Eugene, you don't think Uncle Phil Knight's going to be spinning bag after bag after bag to see his alma mater go out there and win a national championship? He's going to support that along with the collectives until that absolutely happens. What I'm fascinated to see is in the case like in Ohio State, do you do that every single year? Or is that a feel within inside your building from the coach and the coaching staff that we have the team to do it? It's worth it to spend that type of money every season. I think that will be the case because you do want to keep up with all of these other headline programs around the sport. So coaching still matters in this. Like the money part of it, if I'm a recruit, especially let's say I'm a wide receiver, and I get a little bit more money to go to, I don't know, Nebraska, versus what Ohio State is offering me. Do I want to go to Nebraska and not play probably in a whole bunch of competitive games late in the year? Or would I rather take a few less coins and be coached up by a guy like Brian Hartline?
We have an answer to this question. His name is Dylan Raiola.
And have a pathway to the NFL and get a little bit of both. It's going to be different for everybody, but I still think that's what it's going to come down to. Big-time programs that have enough money to throw, at these big-time recruits and guys coming out of the portal, but they also have, hey, look at the staff I got. Look at this developmental program that I have. More importantly, if I'm Ohio State, look at what just happened in the draft. We have 14 dudes drafted. So you can go to another program and get good money, but you can also come to Ohio State, get good money, compete against the best, and still sell some of those old school things that you talk about, which I think still matter. Not as much as they used to, but at the end of the day, to me, those things definitely still matter.
Well, yeah, and there are a couple things there because you're right. It's very individual. Very individual. You can go for money all day long. Now, Ryan Day just told everyone that if they sense that money is the great motivator, that they aren't the school for you.
He said Ohio State ain't for you.
Now, that's a sliding scale because he knows the conversation's going to happen. So it's not like you're going to get some old school kid come in here and say, I want to play for Ohio State. I want to play in that stadium. I want to wear that jersey. I want to play in the game. And money doesn't matter. Of course it will. Of course it will. It matters to the coaches. Why would it matter to the players? And so it used to be where all that stuff I talked about, the training, the developing, the guidance, the counseling, the iron sharpens iron, being at the most competitive program, being in a conveyor belt to the NFL, all that stuff. I want to play on Sundays. This is the place to go. That used to be it. I agree with you. The tiebreaker now is money. You've got assistant coaches, not head coaches, making more than $2 million a year. We are in a unbelievably lucrative time. It was before, but now it's off the charts. You've got assistants making more than $2 million a season. And so everybody knows, the players know the money exists. The coaches know that the players are the lifeblood of the program and the success. Their job, though, is, and this is where I think they're really good at it, is whether or not they would trade talent for fit, talent for character, all that stuff, talent for need. Like, where are they in that equation?
We just saw our one coach push a very talented guy out of the door and say, you know what, we're standing on our culture. We're not bending the knee to money. And Nico Ayamaleava. Josh Heupel, he's just one coach to do it, right? And I don't know how many coaches would do that. But he chose the program and the culture over a guy that plays the most important position that may turn out to be a first-round draft pick and said, we're good.
Because he definitely overplayed his hand. They probably felt like they were getting extorted for a while. It wasn't just, hey, let's revisit this after the season. We just had a great season. Tennessee was in the playoff. We haven't sniffed this kind of success in a long time. I'm your quarterback. I feel I deserve more. I've got other schools offering me more. I'm not trying to be that guy, but I can't leave this amount of money on the table. Can we level this up? It doesn't sound like that's the way it went. It sounds like it went double, and you either pay or I'm gone. And it seems like he's been kind of hinting at this for a while, and they got sick of his being extorted in a way. Right. But this is kind of where it is. Listen, at a lower level, at a much lower level, Ohio State had a lot of coaching and developing and seasoning into Kyle McCord. They felt it wasn't enough, or they felt like maybe he wanted a commitment financially and otherwise that they weren't really they didn't want to commit to. So what did they do? They took a gamble on a quarterback they've never had. Yeah, he had experience. It was Will Howard.
They didn't know him like Kyle.
They didn't know him like Kyle. Yeah. They hadn't put that amount of seasoning in that. Yeah. And so these gambles are being made all the time. And it certainly worked out in Ohio State's favor last year, but the other big boys are coming, and it's just going to get crazier in a way. All right, we come back with overs and unders into the weekend. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic. Oh, yes. Your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, you're the Carfax guy.
The Carfax from Carfax.
Wow.
And you, sir, work at Tire Discounters.
I sure do.
The Carfax top-rated service center.
Oh, right. You know, a lot of that's because of our services. But people think we're just about tires.
Maybe it's your name.
Yeah?
Tire Discounters. And your jingle.
Oh, you like it?
I think it needs something.
Yeah? Like what?
Hit it. Plus brakes, oil changes, shocks, and struts, and more. Now that speaks to me.
Guys, what's up? It's Matty Ice, and I'm here with Wendy's. And if you're looking for your next sandwich love, check out the Cajun Crunch Chicken Sandwich. This sandwich really has me feeling the heat, and it's packed with bold Cajun flavors that add that perfect little kick. Plus, it's topped with crispy onions that give it a satisfying crunch in every single bite. And did I mention this is all on top of Wendy's iconic spicy chicken sandwich? So if you love that, you have to get your hands on this Cajun Crunch Chicken Sandwich before it's gone. For that little extra kick, it's got to be Wendy's. Open until midnight or later.
It's time for the Great Haircut Sale at your local Great Clips salon. Your chance to get a great haircut at an even greater price, just $7.99. And money's not all you'll save at Great Clips. When you use online check-in, you can save time too. So download our app today and hurry in for the $7.99 Great Haircut Sale at Great Clips. It's gonna be great. For a limited time at participating salons.
The $7.99 Great Haircut Sale runs May 3rd through May 9th.
Visit our Columbus area salons.
The Roofing Guys are your locally owned, trusted family business right here in Central Ohio. They've been hammering quality and service through the roof for over 25 years, offering professional services in roofing, siding, gutters, and more. Contact them at theroofingguys.com. That's theroofingguys.com.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, and it's no surprise. Same game parlay from Bet365 just keeps getting better.
Well, it's even easier to make a bet. Choose from the most popular markets like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. T&Cs apply.
This spring, celebrate the sparkle that she brings to your life with something that sparkles right back. Whether it's for Mother's Day, an anniversary, or just because, Diamond Cellar has the perfect gift for the women who mean the world to you. Visit Diamond Cellar today on Selma Road and at Easton Town Center.
Want to learn about Pick 4 from the Ohio Lottery? Okay, Pick 4 is a daily draw game where you pick 4 individual numbers between 0 and 9 that can be played straight, where each number must be drawn in an exact order or boxed where they can be drawn in any order. You can win up to $2,500 on a 50-cent bet. Learn more at OhioLottery.com or the Ohio Lottery app. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly. Want to go back to the radio? Okay.
Hello, radio listeners. The Fan is debuting a new lineup on May 12th. T-Bone and Tyvus hitting leadoff at 6. Bishop and Friends stays at 9. That's not new. Rothman and Ice at noon. You already knew that. Common Man and Kimmy at 3. That's slightly different. Even more inappropriate, if that's possible. And Beamer is the new host of The Buckeye Show. You're welcome. Or we're sorry. Pick one. Get all the details at 971thefan.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
The Fan Poll is brought to you by Castor Connection. Visit CastorConnection.com to shop online or to work with our Castor Solution Specialists.
Rothman and Ice presents Overs and Unders.
Sponsored by the Roofing Guys. For all your roofing, siding, and gutter needs, contact the Roofing Guys at theroofingguys.com.
All right, I love the fact that I don't think you've been keeping track, so it's been even better for us because, I mean, if we've been bad...
No one remembers.
No, they don't remember until we tell them.
Nah, who needs that?
So the last 2 weeks, you have not been keeping record on our ins and outs?
Well, one of them was Adam King and for you.
Well, the rule is for me.
And Adam King said for sure there was going to be a trade with it leading up to Monday of draft week.
If there
wasn't, so he made you look at it.
And who said there wouldn't be?
You did.
This guy. Good call, AR. Good call, brother. My rule is TLC, if someone fills in for me on ins and outs, I get credit for their good record. If it's a bad record, it does not go on, on my resume.
Seems fair.
I see.
That's the rule.
Seems fair.
So if AK held it down while I was gone, then I get those numbers added to my stat sheet. If not, they're in the wind.
Ever since I took over the show, it's been the same thing. You guys agree on 4 out of the 5 questions, and there's only one that's disagreeable.
Okay.
We're not taking you off the hook for not keeping a record, though.
That may be right, but what if we're agreeing because we're going to be right?
All right, impromptu, tell the truth. What was your favorite question last week on overs and unders?
Favorite question on overs and unders.
Exactly.
This does not take you off the hook, TLC. That's not how this works, where you're trying to deflect. You see what he's doing here?
Yeah.
He's trying to switch this up on us because we don't remember his questions when he's supposed to be keeping record of what we do.
So what he just did there was tell the two guys to talk about all things 15 hours a week. What did we do last Friday? That's what he just did.
I think that's trash.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Clatt. I agree. What do you got cooked up, TLC?
How many games will the Warriors-Rockets series go over under 6.5 games?
I actually like this question because I'm probably going to put him in pressure here at 120.
Little teaser.
Yeah.
We got game 6 tonight in the Bay.
I mean, this feels like it's going to go 7. It does, and Rockets have nothing to lose. They're coming in.
They're ready to fight, too.
And rarely would I say a 52-win team would have nothing to lose. It just feels like they're playing a little more free intensity. But I feel like betting against Steph coming off a bad game is probably the wrong thing to do. So I'm going to say it goes 7.
I've seen this movie before.
They're up 3-2, right?
Yeah, the Golden State is.
So the Rockets would have to win for this to go 7?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to change my opinion then.
Yeah, you're on the right side.
I forgot that they were up 3-2.
You're on the right side. I've seen this movie before. Steve Kerr threw it out there prior to Game 5. Hey, we only had a day off, had to fly over here. I got to know.
They stayed on purpose, didn't they?
I'm saying like he was talking about before going into Game 5. Yeah. I got an older team. it was hints out there already that they were not going to perform well. He pulled them early in the game, I believe in the third quarter. And so Jimmy, Draymond, Steph got a bunch of rest in that one. This game will be close for a little bit. Steph, Jimmy, Draymond will do something down the stretch to pull away from a young team. This ain't going 7. This ends in the Bay. Give me the under.
What is Bill Belichick doing?
I'm not sure.
How many games will the Cavaliers and Pacers series go? We have no information on that one yet. Clean slate, over under 5.5.
Indiana, Hannah Montana, Savannah Bananas, Cavs in 5.
Hey,
going under.
Careful. You
Going
start talking
under.
like that. We know what happened to the last guy.
Going under.
Cavs are coming in like a wrecking ball. Is that what you're saying, Hannah, over there? Boy, I want to think that they could put up a fight here and go 6. You said 5.5, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Win
That's an
2
official
games.
one, too.
Win 2 games.
They got
Pacers
a squad.
win 2 games.
They got a squad, AR.
Well, they don't get a split. 2-2. Where are we going? 2-2-1-1-1. Is that how this is going?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll do it. I'll go over. B&J against the world. That's right.
Hunter Green, over under 7.5 strikeouts against Washington today.
It's Maddie's boy.
Hey, this is the NL's boy. This is your Cy Young winner for 2025. Print the shirts on that.
And there it goes. It just died.
No, he's been since I said that. I said that a few weeks ago, TLC. Said it a few weeks ago. AR, 2 out of the last 3 starts. He's had 8 Ks in those games. Now, it was the Pirates and the Colorado Rockies.
Yeah, exactly.
But he did start the year with 8 Ks against the Rangers, who are a good team, good offense, and the Giants, he had 7. Going over.
Your number is what again?
7.5.
I don't know. I've been the under guy lately. I don't know why. Nobody wants to root for unders.
Nobody got
It's
time for
stupid.
that.
I just feel like I'm going to go under. I think he could still. 7's a great game. So give me the under.
What the hell did you trade JP for?
I'm surprised I haven't given you one of these yet. These NRFI, if I say those 4 letters, do you know what that means?
Yeah, it's called the Nerfy.
Uh-huh, the Nerfy.
Yeah, we call that the Nerfy in the gambling world, sir.
I'm going to give you a Nerfy with Guardians and Blue Jays over under half a run in the first inning.
Tonight?
Again, I'm going under because my boy, I shouldn't say this because it's against Guards. My boy Bassett's on the mound.
Mm-hmm.
He's been nice.
So I'm going to go no runs first inning, Nerfy.
This is Logan Allen and Chris Bassett, as you mentioned. Bassett's been awesome.
Wasn't great last against the Yanks, but he's had a very good start to the year.
Going up against the best hitters in the lineup right away.
Mm-hmm.
That's always tricky for me for these baseball Nerfies, but I'm going to go under. I'll go under.
Hey, Seattle, we got a deal.
Idiot. Who was that?
By the way, that is one of the best flexes of all time. That is Russell Wilson laying in bed with Sierra announcing, play it again for me, sir.
Hey, Seattle, we got a deal.
That's a flex. Shirt off, laying next to your wife, talking about millions of dollars you just got. Yeah, I'm here for that.
I'm going to see y'all in the morning.
All right, Scotty Scheffler, final ranking in the CJ Cup. Byron Nelson, that's a weird name. Over under 1.5th place. Currently in the lead.
You got it, AR. You gonna fold up like a napkin?
No. He's, by the way, another one going into pressure, 117.
Okay, I got
He's winning it.
I'm gonna ride with AR then. Give me the under that. Yeah, he's gonna win it.
Crack is whack.
Absolutely.
Oh man.
All right, that's a good first hour. We'll come
Do you know
back.
who that was?
Crack is whack. No, who was that?
Whitney Houston.
Wow. What's she up to?
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, baby.
It'll
Chat.
take us into the weekend on that.
Really? We do a Whitney like that? That's tough.
She was a bad influence on Bobby. That's all I'm saying.
That's tough.
Wow. There's a reason I nicknamed him the Loose Cannon. You just got a taste. Sports Center update coming up here top of the hour. Maddie explaining the QB picks. Andrew Berry. And what I believe is the one question not yet asked or answered. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
Bo Bishop is a media legend. We have no idea where the other guys came from. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan.
Sometimes I hear a sparkling sound.
Like when we say, all you have to do is point?
There it is.
That's the sound of magic happening.
Magic like we can come the day you call us? Wow.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
We've all got it, you know, that one crazy thing you've always wanted to do, that bucket list goal. Then a cancer diagnosis, and that one thing still goes according to plan. I would know. I'm getting my first tattoo right now, while my 3 beautiful daughters laugh hysterically at me. 58 years old, 4 years of cancer-free checkups at Ohio Health. Go ahead and get a picture, girls. You keep making plans.
Visit ohiohealth.com/keepmakingplans.
Now at White Castle, you can get 12 chicken rings for just $3.99. Tender on the inside, crispy on the outside. Choose from classic or our new Cheddar Blast flavor made with real cheddar cheese. White Castle. Follow your crave. Limited time only at participating castles. Tax not included.
Attention kingdom-seeking business professionals, entrepreneurs, and investors in Columbus. Are you ready to experience a life-changing event that will elevate your faith, finances, and future in 2025? Then you won't want to miss this. Join us for Life Search, featuring Champions of Faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center for an extraordinary one-day event that will empower you to transform every area of your life through the power of faith. Prepare to be inspired by an incredible lineup of champions, including college football champions Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs, 3-time national champion head coach Urban Meyer, sportscaster Kirk Herbstreit, 2-time national football champion Tim Tebow, and more. These champions have experienced firsthand how faith transforms lives, and they'll be joining Life Search to share their powerful stories and insights on how to integrate faith into your business, finances, and every aspect of your journey. Seats are selling fast to this unforgettable event, so don't wait. Head to lifesearch.com now to secure your tickets before they're gone. Life Search featuring Champions of Faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center. Don't miss out. Your transformation begins here. Visit lifesearch.com today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Common Man here for Weed Man. I always have the greenest lawn in the neighborhood. It's luscious. I swear by 2 things, water and Weed Man. Weed Man is locally owned and operated by Corbin and Audrey. They will make sure your lawn is weed-free and looking gorgeous. Of course, they get rid of weeds, but they also do aeration, mosquito control, grub control, crabgrass prevention, and flea and tick control for your 4-legged friends. For a free quote, give them a call, 614-733-3747, weedmanusa.com. Tell them Common Man sent you.
Watching Clorox cleanup spray dissolve tough grime in the shower feels like...
Wait, this really just happened? I'm shocked. Underwear and everything?
It feels like being able to zip up your overpacked suitcase on the first try.
Smooth.
With Clorox, clean feels satisfying. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Evan Cohen here. Picking a place to build a life is a lot like selecting a draft pick. Make a decision that will set you up for long-term success. Pick Wisconsin. In Wisconsin, you'll find dynamic career opportunities, beautiful seasons, affordable living, and legendary weekends. From its high quality of life and great schools to its fine arts, culinary, and pro sports scenes, Wisconsin gives you so much to look forward to. That's why you should pick Wisconsin. Learn more about making Wisconsin your home. Visit pickwisconsin.com.
Progressive knows sports brings people together, but you gotta feel bad for people who don't even get it. Some people will never know what it's like to see their favorite team's hopes decided by a ping pong ball to draft the next superstar. Or not. I mean, sure, it's silly for your happiness to hinge on the success of a 20-year-old entry-level employee, but you just can't help yourself. The stress is exhilarating. Progressive can't bring people together like the draft, but we can bring your home and auto insurance together with a bundle. So switch and see if you could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states or situations.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good afternoon. I'm Ryan Baker. The Cincinnati Reds start a home series with the Washington Nationals at 6:10 this evening. Hunter Green starts for Cincy opposite Mitchell Parker. You can hear that one on the Fans HD3 beginning at 5:40. The Cleveland Guardians head north of the border to Toronto to face the Blue Jays. Logan Allen versus Chris Bassett, the pitching matchup, 7:07 first pitch. The Buckeye baseball team starts a series with that team up north at 6 over at Bill Davis Stadium. You can hear that on ESPN Columbus. The Columbus Clippers with a doubleheader at Huntington Park tonight against St. Paul. Game 1 gets underway at 5:05. Columbus Blue Jackets forward Sean Monahan has been named a finalist for the Bill Masterton Trophy. This one's sponsored by RCD RV. RCD's open house is May 3rd through the 10th. They have over 650 RVs in stock. You can visit RCD in Delaware, Heath, or Pataskala.
You're listening to Rothman and Ice.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus, the #1 rated windows and doors in Columbus.
All right, second hour on tap here, Rothman and Ice. Jason B. Hershorn, NFL college football writer, 130. And there was a little bit of history made in the draft. Was it the right call? We'll talk to him then. We'll have Pressure Cooker coming up this hour as well. Still trying to figure out what the Browns were thinking with drafting both quarterbacks. So I don't know. I shouldn't say whether I don't know whether this was asked or not. I don't think it's been answered yet. But I think the one, if you asked me like the one thing that I wanted to hear from the Browns press conference, it would have been somebody sitting there saying to Andrew Berry, you drafted Dylan Gabriel 94. So obviously Shedeur was on the board. So you chose Dylan Gabriel over Shedeur Sanders in that moment. Mm-hmm. You did not think, there's no way for you to know whether he was going to be available after that. So in your eyes, you believe Dylan Gabriel was a better draft pick at the same position than Shedeur Sanders. Tell us the reason why.
Turn the tape on, Andrew Berry. Run us through the X's and O's.
Tell us the reason why. Don't give us the glowing attributes of each guy because they're both on the roster now. I want to go into your mind in that war room at that time when both guys were on the board, both guys played the same position. You took him over him.
You know what?
Why?
He would never answer that question the way you wanted to because he would never want to put down Shedeur.
Right.
And because I think what you're asking is totally fair.
All right, well then take
it
to another level, Matty. Just say, does he have a leg up on Shedeur because you had drafted him prior to Shedeur?
You know what answer you would get. You'd get a canned answer.
It out.
100%.
Let him battle it out.
100%.
Yeah.
I've completely given up on my expectations when it comes to coaches, GMs, of guys in that realm of sports giving you anything that is going to be worth a dang. Anything. Because when it comes to those questions that you're asking, they're all in bounds. Everybody's thinking the same thing you're thinking. But there's not going to be a coach or a GM that's going to go in depth and give you the real answers and how they went through their process to get to that point. Nobody really does it anymore. These coaches and players know, hey, we can get away with giving canned answers 99% of the time. It's just coach speak, it's player speak, and that's why I appreciate the guys, whether they are coaches, GMs, players, that do every once in a while give you what to me is a real answer. And so Andrew Berry wouldn't touch that because he wouldn't want to ruffle the feathers of Shedeur and put in Shedeur's mind what their actions have already told us. And that's what you said off the top, is that they believe Dylan Gabriel right now, or at least coming out of college, which is right now, is the better quarterback for them. And so I think you just be running yourself into a brick wall of frustration, AR, asking those questions because they shoot it right back to you
and it's
with
okay.
nothing.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
You expect that. You expect them to kind of not – listen, they picked both of them. So clearly there is some like there. But I just think it would be very interesting to ask him just point blank. And by the way, when you're doing it right after the draft, it makes sense. Like, We've all spent so much time on this draft. So why after the draft are you not entitled to ask the obvious questions? Like, it's so
you're
funny.
entitled to, but in their minds, they're not entitled or feel like they deserve.
Okay, but then let him wiggle. Let him squirm then. Because you picked a guy 2 rounds later at the same position. So we all are sitting in this room believing that you like Dylan Gabriel more than Shedeur Sanders. Tell us why. That's it. That's the question. It's as simple. It's as plain as day. Just tell us why. This isn't about whether you saw value in Shedeur. I see value in Shedeur. Like, if I was sitting there and pick 144 and he wasn't off the board yet, and I had a way to get up and say, you know what? Because what I'm trying to get to is not necessarily whether or not Shedeur Sanders is better than Dylan Gabriel in their eyes. It's whether he believes that Dylan Gabriel has a better chance now, whether he valued the quarterback in round 3. It makes me feel like the picking quarterback at round 3 was almost a stupid pick. But they must really like Gabriel, because if you don't think that Shedeur Sanders is a lesser quarterback than Dylan Gabriel, then you shouldn't have picked Dylan in round 3. Shedeur came up because of value. That was opportunity. I'm all for that. That was an opportunity pick. There's no way that he felt that Shedeur Sanders, Maddie, was going to be available at 144. Because if he really liked him, he couldn't have said in his mind, well, I'm going to take Dylan here. Pretty sure Shedeur is going to be available at 144. I can get them both. He wasn't thinking that. He even admitted that. All I want to get to is you valued a quarterback in round 3, pick 94. You must believe he's better than the guy that you picked at 144, at least on paper. And I don't think we've ever heard that answer.
And you never will.
Yeah.
And you never will. What I'm fascinated to see now moving forward as well is the locker room politics that will get played in this. Because there's already guys that are in that locker room that have publicly supported in some way the draft pick of Shedeur. Guy like Denzel Ward tweeting out stuff at Shedeur. They didn't have that same type of energy for Dylan Gabriel. So that's a whole other factor in this as well. And I don't know Kevin Stefanski's going to care about that. He and Tommy Rees, at the end of the day, it's not their decision. But if the Myles Garretts of the world, the Denzel Wards of the world, Jerry Jeudy and Joko, these guys that are the kind of faces of the franchise right now, if they come out in support of Shedeur, then what do you do in that situation if you're Kevin Stefanski? Because you don't want to ruffle the feathers of the vets either. Shedeur's taken over the city already. He's taken over the city already. You saw it yesterday in the baseball game with Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez is throwing up the watch celebration for the walk-off, with the Guardians yesterday. Does that matter with football stuff? Probably not. But it just speaks to the star power and what this guy can bring to a franchise in a city. He's going around in high schools and talking to kids already and saying, hey, my goal is to, help Cleveland win a Super Bowl. And of course he's going to say all of those things, but that stuff is all in this pot right now. It's going to come down to the football stuff as it always does. But I've been thinking about those things as well, and especially the in-house stuff already that has been publicly shown via tweets and on social media from some of the leaders of the team already when Shedeur got drafted and did not do those same things for Dylan Gabriel.
The other thing, and I'll get your take on this, whether you believe this. I also think that, yes, while you're correct, Shedeur is more famous. We know that. I also think that he has, in a positive way, this could be a sympathetic thing too, that he dropped so far. He was a consensus. He got pranked. Like that, I feel like, and maybe what did you say he threw up? J-Ram threw up a...
Yeah, the perfect timing celebration that, Shedeur always does.
Okay, I must not be paying attention.
You got one of the biggest stars in the city.
Does Dylan Gabriel not have a signature move?
Not to my knowledge.
All right, yeah.
And
even if he did?
I don't think they're probably doing that.
Probably
to
not.
me, I don't know. I don't think that's...
So I think Shedeur is now... I never thought he'd be this. He's a guy that a lot of people are rooting for in a different way now. He's being rooted for in a way like that you weren't a first rounder, but you certainly weren't a fifth. And now there's a prove them wrong kind of thing. And he's got it. Now, whether he does it or not is anybody's guess. But I do feel, and we have Andrew Berry's cut here. Let's hear Andrew Berry on Dylan Gabriel when he was asked.
With Dylan, obviously has a lot of college film in a number of different environments and different offensive systems. You see him for the full week at the Senior Bowl where he's just kind of thrown into the mix, new offense, see that he really passes that test. You see him meet with them, at the Combine. We bring him in 3 days after the Combine ends for the top 30 visits, go out and see him in Eugene and, do the private workout and visit and everything. So we felt like we had a really strong feeling of what we believe to be his strengths and weaknesses throughout the process, and got to know him really well, like a lot of the other quarterbacks in this class.
Yeah, and you liked him better than Sanders. It may not end up that way. Maybe you'll wind up liking Shedeur better.
Yeah.
But there's no way you can get around. The results are the results. You picked a smaller, older prospect than the other guy. It's wild, Matty.
It's insane. It's insane, AR. And not only that, they traded up to get Shedeur.
That's right.
Like, it's not like they just, hey, you know what? We waited around till 144.
He was there.
They said, we're going to spend a little capital to go get him, too. What is this franchise doing? I really don't know, man.
They can't help themselves. And you know why? Because they are desperate for quarterback.
Yeah.
So as much as they countered out of number 2, which they got praised for, which they should have, because they didn't think Shedeur was worth the number 2 pick, they wanted to go into the 26th draft with another first rounder, and it was great. And they got universal praise. Browns owned the draft because they got volume versus a tangible player. But at the end of the day, they just couldn't help themselves. They had to just get back in there.
That's why
we need to volume shoot.
This Shedeur pick is had Jimmy's name all over it. It just does.
It does at 144 with a trade up. I don't think it would have at 94.
No. After you take a quarterback at 94,
that's it.
That's where they lose me with this.
You took me kind of where eventually I was going to get anyway, which is, was the pick forced on you guys? Because clearly Dylan was your pick.
He was your guy.
That wasn't Haslam's pick.
It was your guy.
144. You already got your guy.
Yeah.
He was available. Why didn't you take him?
That's always where I'm going to be at. I don't care what they say. I'm going to be there.
And I'm with you. Based on talking it out now, that's
in the history of the league. We don't see teams do that. We just don't see teams do that. It's just weird, man.
It was weird. All right, we come back with Pressure Cooker next. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
Spring showers revealing roofing or siding issues? Trust the pros at Newman Roofing for expert care, white glove service, and quality you can count on. Schedule your estimate today and take advantage of special financing options. Call 614-NEW-ROOF or visit newmanroofing.com today.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Spring into savings at Ohio Mulch. Get your mulch as easy as ever. Save $50 on home delivery now through Sunday. All you got to do is visit ohiomulch.com today.
Ohio Mulch, landscape supply.
Thinking about buying your first home? Now, with Third Federal, you can buy your first home and pay no PMI. Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. And you may not realize PMI doesn't protect you. It only protects the lender in case of default. But at Third Federal, you can buy a home with just 5% down and no PMI. Plus, first-time home buyers get $750 off a closing cost. So if you're thinking about buying your first home, go for it and visit thirdfederal.com.
Even before you find a home, lock in 6.50%, APR 6.56% on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase mortgage. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-THIRD-FED today. APR reflects 15% down for $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restrictions apply. See conditions for closing cost coupon at thirdfederal.com/FTHB. Equal housing lender.
Mother's Day is Sunday, May 11th, that one very special day when you can show Mom how much you appreciate everything she's done for you. What says love and appreciation more than a beautiful flowering gift from Oakland Nursery? Hanging baskets exploding with spring color, hand-potted roses in thousands of varieties, and lovely annuals for a beautiful garden. Show your love and appreciation for Mom with a trip to Oakland Nursery. For 85 years, moms throughout Central Ohio have looked forward to Mother's Day gifts from Oakland Nursery.
Hey, it's Anthony from my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin. And Rich and his team are ready to get you in a great new Honda this spring. Purchase or lease. He's going to make you feel awesome about your next vehicle and your experience. Grab a hold of this one, a 2025 Honda Accord Hybrid Sport. Lease it for only $347 a month for 36 months, 30,000 miles, and only $19.99 down. He's got rates as low as 2.9%. Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
Common Man and Timmy are hosting afternoons together. Best friends. Lots of jokes none of us understand. Not safe for work Instagram models. God help us.
Help! What should we do? Weekdays at 3, starting May 12th.
The Fan.
Do you want a job that is flexible, secure, and fun? It also offers excellent pay and is ranked as one of the best jobs in America, too. I'm talking about being a dental hygienist. And all you have to do is complete a 2-year program after high school. Visit ODA.org to learn more and to start helping people love their smile. This message is brought to you by the members of the Ohio Dental Association.
Proper tree care is an investment that can lead to substantial returns and increased personal enjoyment. Hiring a certified arborist can help care for your trees and add considerable value to your property. Inspections by Ohio ISA certified arborists can often find and mitigate tree defects before they fail. Only professionals with specialized knowledge and training are properly equipped to provide appropriate care. To find an arborist, visit trees4ohio.org. That's trees4ohio.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We're looking at scattered showers and storms this afternoon. A few could be gusty, so stay weather aware, but a bigger chance for severe weather comes this evening into tonight with a line of storms likely to bring with it widespread chances for damaging wind. 10 TV Weather Impact Alert Day will be in place. Temperatures will go from the 70s this afternoon to 60s with rain tomorrow. That's your latest 10 Weather Impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365, the official online sports book of Rothman and Ice. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Rothman and Ice present Under Pressure.
I'll tell you, the gift that keeps on giving is the Cleveland Browns and the quarterbacks.
Oh, and we're just getting started with this. Wait until we get the mini camp, OTAs, training camp, when we got all these beat writers out there, AR, sending out the tweets of who's getting the first team reps, the videos and all. The eye of the NFL world will be on this quarterback situation in Cleveland until it gets cleaned up, because it's just so fascinating what they're doing right now. And it doesn't make sense to a lot of people in-house. I'm sure they have a plan and it makes sense to them. I just can't wait to see how they go about it, because I've never really seen anything like this.
All right, a little cooker time. Since we talked about Maddie, I'm going to throw Golden State in there. You get one closeout game, get out of jail flop card.
Yeah.
You've now played that card. That card's been burned. It's gone. It's burned. They got to heat up from 3. It's the place to do it. They got the guys to do it. Here's the inside stat. It'll be a big hit with your friends.
I thought you were going to Mob Rashad inside stuff on us.
IBM presents You Make the Call. And Ahmad Rashad was awesome.
I used to love that show.
Unfortunately, with Willow Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was Jordan's homie.
Browns fans don't like Ahmad because of the 2-minute Tommy and the Hail Mary, but I understand. They're 19-4 this season. The Warriors are, when they make at least 18 threes. 10-0 since getting Jimmy. So home cooking should be enough now. The pressure is here. We talked about it. The Rockets are intense. And this begins with Steph. All the pressure's on him. Time to wake up. Start sizzling. They didn't show up in Game 5. That was a crazy debacle there. Nor did Draymond. Maddie, did they give up 76 in the first half?
That sounds right, big dog.
Whew.
Yeah, they were.
So Steph was 4 for 12, 13 points over 23 minutes in Game 5. Houston, as the kids say, was lit. And I do believe that going 15 for 44 from 3 in Game 5 is pretty brutal for them. So the pressure's on for them to do what they do, and that's hit from 3. By the way, the Rockets got to the line 38 times. 9 o'clock tip tonight, earlier out there, 6, so they better get rolling earlier. That shoot-around better be worth something. If the Warriors don't seal the deal, look out. Yeah. So I'm putting it on Steph, the Warriors, whatever splash bros they got. Yeah. They better come to the party tonight.
I like it. Dylan Brooks is coming out, and they are saying, we don't care about Steph's thumb. Yeah, if it's there, we're hacking it. You know what I mean? Hey, he's out there playing. We're going to let him feel our physicality. Couple Game 7 in the world of sports happening tomorrow. You got Colorado and Dallas in the NHL. But over in the NBA, we got a Game 7 that's taking place in the Rocky Mountains out there in Denver. The Clippers and the Denver Nuggets tomorrow night, 7:30 tip, Game 7. Seasons are on the line. I'm looking at a couple Robins in this game. So Jamal Murray and James Harden, the beard, come on down. It's Game 7 Saturday night, baby. You guys got to rise up. I'm pretty confident that the stars for each team will show up. Nikola Jokic, as we know, is incredible. Kawhi Leonard has gone back to being an absolute machine in the postseason. So those guys are going to do their thing. Jamal Murray, he's been okay. Outside of that Game 5, huge game for him. 43 points. It's just been from Jamal Murray. We know he's a better player than that. He shot poorly from 3 in this series as well. Game 3, he shot 25%. Game 4, he shot 20%. And so Harden, Murray, I think these guys will be the X factors in this game. Whoever is the victor in this, I think one of these guys will be the reason why. The lefty in Harden, the righty with Murray, two guys that have had really, really good careers and had some big moments in the postseason. It's time to put it all together and support your Batmans. Jamal Murray, James Harden, Nuggets, Clippers, Game 7 tomorrow night. Those two guys are on the pressure list.
All right. Going to a 23-year-old in Chi-Town by way of USC. Caleb Saquon Williams. Maddie, he's getting the pressure treatment. I know it's early, but we're post-draft, and we just talked a lot about it. But you take Colston Loveland, number 10 overall. I mean, not only was tight end not a glaring need for Chicago after they extended Cole Kmet, a lot of people thought you took the wrong dude. Tyler Warren's there. But they love Loveland, and with Keenan Allen leaving, they need a slot guy too, and Loveland can't replace Allen, but it's a similar role. He's not your typical tight end. We know that. And then they got Luther Burden III, correct?
They did.
Okay, so round 2, they grabbed Luther Burden III. That's one of the biggest surprises from day one was Luther falling out of the first round. Maddie, do they have the scariest? You can just knee-jerk reaction on this.
Yeah.
Think about the weapons now. Could the Bears have, with DJ Moore and Roma Dunze and Burden and Loveland and Kmet, could they have a compilation that would put them in the top 2 or 3 of weapons in the NFL?
I'm not there yet. Easily for me in the top 10. Because I still need to see Roma Dunze and what type of ceiling he has. But it looks good on paper.
Yeah.
It really looks good on paper.
Pressure is massive for Caleb. The amount of talent that Ryan Poles and the Bears have surrounded him with now, the expectations are huge for him. They've been starving for a franchise quarterback for years. This feels like a good chance for them to prove they've got one. And so I'm kind of here to tell you that I can't remember the last time. When was the last time they won a playoff game? 15 years, maybe? Something like that.
In a minute.
So this is it.
Okay.
So it's Caleb Williams in early in the cooker.
I like it. Second candidate for me. Staying in the NBA, and I'm talking about a man that was born on November 29th, 1986 in Seattle, Washington. His name is Mitch Johnson. If you don't know who Mitch Johnson is, that's okay. But he is now in a position where the pressure of the San Antonio Spurs world is all on his shoulders. Because prior to us coming into the show, we found out that Greg Popovich is hanging it up as a head coach in the NBA, moving into a front office position. Real quick, shout out to Pop. One of the best to ever do it, probably on the Mount Rushmore head coaches in the association. The all-time winningest coach in NBA history. He's been coaching in San Antonio since 1996 and won 5 titles there. So congrats to him on a tremendous career. Had to unfortunately step aside this year because of some health stuff, but he will be in the mix down there in San Antonio, so you love to see that. But now Mitch Johnson has a whole bunch of pressure on him because he is now responsible for the success of Victor Wembanyama, who outside of LeBron, outside of some other guys in the history of the league, I don't know if there's been a bigger prospect, a more hyped up prospect in the alien that is Victor Wembanyama. And so now you take over this franchise that has had a tremendous culture under the watch of Greg Popovich. You got the pressure of getting Victor Wembanyama into winning situations, and there's some smoke out there that the Spurs might mess around and trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo if he makes it known that he wants out. But it's all about Victor Wembanyama. But right now, this is about Mitch Johnson, the son of an NBA champion, and John Johnson, who won the finals in '79 with the Seattle Supersonics. But Mitch Johnson, the new head coach for the San Antonio Spurs, is on the pressure list.
All right, I was thinking about putting everybody who isn't named Scotty Scheffler with the Byron Nelson in the cooker, but I'm going to change that and put it on him because there's pressure on him to get that first win of 2025 heading into the rest of the majors. I'll probably continue to do this all year until he wins. He's not won this event, but he's played it 3 times. He's got a top 5, I believe. He didn't play in it last year. So he's got to start winning or it'll start to weigh on him. So I'm putting it on Scotty Scheff, and he probably gets it done this week.
Last candidates for me, it's the cast of Thunderbolts. Marvel dropped their new movie today. I cannot wait to see what this looks like. I think the trailer looks really good, but you just never know with some of these superhero movies. So Florence Pugh, the gang, Harrison Ford, all those guys. You're on the pressure list. Let's bring it for this movie. Give us a banger.
All right, we come back in 2 minutes with our friend Jason B. Hershorn. Not Alex P. Keaton, but Jason B. Hershorn. And he is the co-founder of the Leap, the Packers newsletter. We'll talk a lot of draft with him. But history was made. Was it the right call? We'll ask him in 2 minutes. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
Quarterback Jordan Love isn't just on Green Bay's team. He's also on the American Family Insurance team. Because like us, he believes in dreaming fearlessly.
Just chase your dreams and don't let nobody hold you back.
And we help protect those dreams with the right coverage so you can
dream fearlessly.
American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Evan Cohen here. Picking a place to build a life is a lot like selecting a draft pick. Make a decision that will set you up for long-term success. Pick Wisconsin. In Wisconsin, you'll find dynamic career opportunities, beautiful seasons, affordable living, and legendary weekends. From its high quality of life and great schools to its fine arts, culinary, and pro sports scenes, Wisconsin gives you so much to look forward to. That's why you should pick Wisconsin. Learn more about making Wisconsin your home. Visit pickwisconsin.com.
Watching Clorox cleanup spray dissolve tough grime in the shower feels like...
Wait, this really just happened? I'm shocked. Underwear and everything?
It feels like being able to zip up your overpacked suitcase on the first try.
Smooth.
With Clorox, clean feels satisfying. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Rothman and Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
It's Rothman and Ice.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus, the #1 rated windows and doors in Columbus.
I love diving into the draft after the results are in. Our friend Jason B. Hershorn is with us now, the award-winning NFL and college football writer, co-founder of the Leap, the Packers newsletter. Jason, welcome back.
Great to be back on. Finally rested after several long weeks of draft preparation. I'm assuming it's the same for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been fun. We love it. We live for it. But I did think that one thing, we talked about this before the draft, on whether or not our guy, Emeka Egbuka, would go to certain teams. And I had thrown out the Packers. Now, we had talked about also, I said to Matt, I go, the Packers haven't taken a first-round receiver in forever. Couple decades or whatever it's been or more. And then Matthew Golden is there for the taking, and they do it. Give me your take on them kind of going away from their history and drafting this kid, I guess, for need and talent, and what you think of it.
Well, in terms of what the Packers were doing in the pre-draft process, I think they were pretty strongly signaling that they were going to take, or at least seriously consider taking, a receiver in the first round. You mentioned Emeka Egbuka. He came into Green Bay for an official pre-draft visit. So did Teteroa McMillan, a handful of other receivers who were in consideration for the first round and the early second round. So usually the Packers will use those meetings to at least directionally signal where they're going. And ultimately that is indeed what they did, taking Matthew Golden with the 23rd overall pick. Golden, in the most basic sense, fills a big need in terms of that vertical element that the Packers offense lost when Christian Watson went down with a torn ACL late in the 2024 season. But he's not exactly the same as Watson either. Watson's, 6'4" and change receiver with great speed. Golden is technically a faster receiver, but he's doing so in a 5'11", 191-pound package. He's also probably a better route runner today than Watson is, or at least was prior to his injury. So I don't know if they're going to get used exactly the same way, but Golden is in some way going to be the vertical element in that Packers passing game.
Let me ask you this. Do you feel like the Packers were caught off guard when the Buccaneers took Egbuka, that maybe they did think that if he fell, they would take him versus Golden, and then once he was gone, they had to do it, but maybe they didn't expect Tampa to do that?
I don't know that a lot of teams in the league expected Tampa to go receiver in the first round, not specific to Green Bay. Now, Egbuka is someone who realistically could have gone before the 23rd pick, even if the Buccaneers had not been the team to select him. So presumably the Packers were prepared for a scenario where Egbuka wasn't available, but another receiver they liked as a first-round grade was. So Egbuka going to Tampa, again, is a bit of a surprise, not because of the prospect himself, but because that was the team that had spent to bring back Chris Godwin, who plays a somewhat similar role to the one that we expect Egbuka to play in the NFL. They obviously extended Mike Evans not that long ago. It didn't seem like receiver was this giant need for them, but Egbuka is a very good receiver prospect in a draft class that didn't have a lot of those. So that part of it, I guess, in a vacuum isn't so surprising.
Jason, I want to ask you about a former Packer quarterback in Aaron Rodgers and what you think is next for him. We talk a lot of AFC North football down here, and some people are reading between the lines and looking at the actions of the Steelers throughout the offseason and the draft and coming to the conclusion that, hey, they may believe in-house that Aaron Rodgers is on the way. What are your thoughts on that possible scenario?
I mean, that does seem relatively likely. That seemed likely before the draft, too. The Steelers had a number of opportunities to select a quarterback in the first few rounds, passed on all of those. They did take Will Howard, someone who, at least I know that some teams thought could have starting potential down the line, but that's a sixth-round pick. That's not preventing you from bringing in a veteran. If Aaron Rodgers wants to sign with the Steelers ultimately, and who knows what's going on in his mind at any given moment, but if that is the way that he eventually goes, it does seem like the Steelers are happy to bring him aboard, have another veteran, 1 to 2 year Band-Aid, figure out their long-term starting quarterback later on. And if that doesn't come to pass, there is still the Kirk Cousins option, but that feels like very much an emergency plan. It does seem like the Steelers and Rodgers are the most likely outcome as we're speaking today.
Jason, does Dylan Gabriel have the obvious advantage in the Browns' eyes because they picked him at 94, 50 picks ahead of Shedeur Sanders?
I don't know that he does, not because of who he is as a prospect, but because I don't know that really any of those quarterbacks, other than maybe Joe Flacco, come in with any real advantage. Flacco has played for this coaching staff before, obviously had pretty good results 2 seasons ago when he won Comeback Player of the Year. Kenny Pickett still sort of a project. That's why he's on his rookie deal and he's on his third team. And with both those rookies that they just drafted, they should get chances, but I don't know that one is going to be favored over the other, at least early in the process. And the thing that's interesting to me is, how do you balance in training camp getting reps to 4 quarterbacks? Flacco maybe doesn't need as much as Pickett does or as either of the rookies, but you still have to rep him in some way so that he's prepared to work with his new teammates. I just don't know how with that many quarterbacks, they're going to balance all of this in camp. And then when you get to the preseason, that as well. So it's going to be a very interesting situation for Kevin Stefanski and that coaching staff to balance and manage.
The Bengals this offseason went all in prior to the draft on offense to the money that they spent with Chase and Higgins and even bringing Mike Gesicki back. And so now they've got this Trey Hendrickson situation just kind of hovering over the franchise. He's been a very productive player, as you know, when you look at his age and where this team is currently within this Super Bowl window. It seems like they'll have for a while as long as Burrow, Chase, and Higgins are around. Do you think it would be worthwhile for the Bengals to invest at a high dollar to keep Trey Hendrickson around?
I mean, at this point, I suppose that's probably the move. It does seem to be the way that they're trending, even though they spent an early pick to get Jamar Stewart out of Texas A&M. I don't know what Hendrickson's long-term future is, even if the deal that he ultimately signs is going to be a multi-year agreement. It could be the case that they sign something now and essentially revisit where he's going to be a year or two from now. I mean, he's in his 30s. Doesn't mean that he can't play much longer, but we do know that pass rushers, especially edge rushers at that age, can fall off, at least to some degree, at pretty much any time. So the Bengals do appear to be ready to pay him once they can finally get those last few details hammered out. And I do think he's going to be in Cincinnati for the 2025 season. But after that, I really don't know. Even if it's, let's say, a 4-year deal or any kind of agreement that extends well beyond 2025, I think they're going to have to revisit this a year from now because they're just not in a position where they have that many resources to spend on the rest of that roster. And they just spent a first-round pick on Jamar Stewart. So at a certain point, if they feel, let's say, like Stewart a year from now is ready to take over as their lead edge rusher and they can still get something in a trade for Hendrickson, I don't think that's off the table, even if he does sign a deal in the next few weeks or months.
What do you think of the Jackson Dart pick at 25 to the Giants? Second quarterback off the board, and he gets to sit behind Russ and Jameis, or maybe he doesn't even sit behind Jameis. I don't know, but maybe he has time to develop is my point. And from a talent standpoint, did the Giants make the right risk here, taking him as the second quarterback off the board?
If you're looking at it just from the perspective of was he the best quarterback available after Cam Ward's number 1 overall pick, it appears that the league by consensus has said yes. There weren't a lot of quarterbacks drafted in general in the first 2 days of the draft, and someone like Shedeur Sanders didn't even go to the 5th round. So it seems that most teams viewed Jackson Dart as the next best option. At the same time, I don't know what that timeline really looks like with the Giants. And it's not because of Jackson Dart. That coaching staff and that front office are on borrowed time. If this season does not unfold well for them, if they have another 3, 4, 5 win campaign, everybody's gone. And then what happens with Jackson Dart? A different staff, a different front office will have drafted him. Will the new people coming in feel the same way? That's why it's so interesting. It's not that Jackson Dart was an unreasonable choice to trade into the back of the first round for. Other teams were willing to do that. But is this situation where Jackson Dart gets caught in no man's land next offseason because the people who brought him into New York are no longer there?
Yeah, it's a good point to bring up, that's for sure. I want to hit you up about the Niners and Brock Purdy and who you believe has the leverage in this situation because – from Purdy's side of things, his story is great. The team has been really good over the last few years, but there's people out there, Jason, I'm sure you've heard it as well, that don't believe he's truly, an aircraft carrier, if you will, for an offense. Purdy right now, the work that he's put in, where that franchise is at the moment, what do you think a contract should look like for him?
Well, anyone can debate whether or not he should be one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. And frankly, I just don't find that interesting. But the more interesting part of this is the leverage. Right now, Purdy has only 1 year left on his rookie deal, but the 49ers can franchise tag him next offseason and can realistically do so again if they so choose. We've seen other teams take this approach. A million years ago, Washington did this with Kirk Cousins. So it's definitely a thing that they can attempt if they can't come to a deal that they find reasonable. So what are Purdy's options here? He can take a deal that maybe he and his side view as below market and secure his long-term future. He was the last pick in the draft. He obviously doesn't have, by NFL standards, a ton of money yet. That might be an approach. Or he can dig his heels in and say, no, I want to be paid as one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. But if that's the case, I don't know that contract's coming this offseason. It may not come next offseason either. So it really comes down to, when does Purdy feel like he has to have his contract signed by? If he plays out the 2025 season on his current deal, which could happen. We still don't have a deal yet. We don't even know how close they are in terms of their size and what they want in that contract. Then, this upcoming season becomes extremely important to him. If he has a season like he did 2 years ago, well, then he's going to have a ton of leverage. The 49ers can franchise tag him, but the demand is just going to be there from other teams to consider him. If, however, Purdy has another year where he's fine and he's efficient, but he's not really moving the needle in the way some of these other top quarterbacks are, I don't know that he's going to have any more leverage then than he does now, other than he's, I guess, a year closer to the end of that runway, but that may not be enough. So, if I'm on Purdy's side and they're offering something that's even adjacent to top 5 quarterback money, that's probably reasonable enough, because if Purdy signs that deal, has another good season or two, he can go back to the negotiating table. He can ask the 49ers for more money, saying that he has proven himself. But I just don't know how Purdy and his camp is approaching this, and that's part of the reason why no agreement has been struck yet.
Good stuff, always, with our friend Jason B. Hershorn, award-winning NFL and college football writer and co-founder of The Leap, the Packers newsletter. Thanks, Jason. Great stuff. Have a good weekend.
All right, take care, guys.
Thanks. Jason was on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. We come back with a Buckeye Bulletin. And Ryan Day, always dealing with the never-ending revolving door. You'll hear it next. Rothman and Ice in the Fan.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, hiya, Phantom.
Mike, I think I saw a fox on my way in.
Oh, that was the Carfax Carfox. He was congratulating us on our Carfax Top-Rated Service Center Award.
I have always rated Tire Discounters at the very top.
Oh, thanks. So does Carfax. And not just for tires, but for all our services, too.
Alignment, brakes, shocks, and struts, and more.
Yes, sir.
But, Mike, do you think people believe Carfax over me?
Well, you are the Phantom tire buyer.
Exactly.
It's time for the Great Haircut Sale at your local Great Clips salon. Your chance to get a great haircut at an even greater price, just $7.99. And money's not all you'll save at Great Clips. When you use online check-in, you can save time too. So download our app today and hurry in for the $7.99 Great Haircut Sale at Great Clips. It's gonna be great. For a limited time at participating salons.
The $7.99 Great Haircut Sale runs May 3rd through May 9th.
Visit our Columbus area salons.
Let's go to the floor with some late-breaking developments on the markets. Jim?
Up things are down, down things are up.
Sounds like things
You
are...
don't understand. Right is left, lemons are sweet, spaghetti is cold, the milk is warm.
Okay, but are you seeing anything that maybe smart-minded money people should know about?
Yeah. Apex Pros.
The pros who knows?
Probably one of the most stable things you can do is an Apex Pros air conditioner tune-up.
Air conditioner tune-ups, you say?
Oh, yeah. Apex Pros knows most expensive summer breakdowns can be prevented by getting a tune-up now.
Yes, it's known that a tuned-up AC lowers energy bills, which is important to...
Oh, this is unbelievable.
What, big sell-off? Huge increase?
No, I spilled coffee on my new shirt. Anyway, tune-up save on energy bills, plus make your air conditioner last years longer.
Good to know Apex Pros keeps things stable and predictable.
That's on my pants, too. This is the worst day. This is historic. You know that.
No doubt about it. Columbus loves Apex Pros. The pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
Hi, this is Bob Masheter from Dick Masheter Ford. Thank you to all of Central Ohio as we head towards 60 years of doing business in the Buckeye State. Dad opened up in 1967 simply trying to offer a better way to buy a car, and we've been working ever since to serve our neighbors. We have served you through wars, recessions, and even a Chinese virus. Here is to serving you and your kids and your grandkids for the next 60 years, except on Sundays when we're closed, because it's the right thing to do. Still 24/7 at masheterford.net. Thanks.
Many drugs, like cocaine, methamphetamine, and non-prescription pills, are often cut with dangerous opioids like fentanyl. As a result, nearly 14 Ohioans die daily from unintentional overdoses. That's why it's important to carry naloxone, such as Narcan, a life-saving medication that blocks the effects of fentanyl and other opioids. Over the last 5 years, naloxone has saved over 83,000 lives. Help save lives and visit naloxone.ohio.gov to learn more and find free naloxone. Remember, if you see an overdose occurring, always call 911.
May I have your attention for some important programming news? Sorry. T-Bone and Tyvus are hosting mornings, weekdays at 6, starting May 12th. That means Common Man and Timmy will share Bro Love at 3. The Fan.
Most people in radio commercials talk really fast. But we made this one for RV owners. Progressive knows they like the slower pace of RV life, like this commercial. And they know Progressive will protect their RV at a fair price with discounts. Now here comes the fast part. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Ohio Heating and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Rothman and Ice present Buckeye Bulletin.
Sponsored by Logan AC and Heat Services. Don't go through another air conditioner breakdown. For fast, friendly service, call the experts at Logan Services now for a free estimate and next day air installation.
All right, Buckeye Bulletin time. So you never want to lose them out of Ohio, but it's always interesting to know why. I think, and you never really know. You can go to money, you can go to opportunity, you can go old school. You say, man, I grew up in Ohio. Love to play football in California. Love to live there. Love to, who knows?
Some
right?
of that sunshine.
You get impressed by, who knows? But the 4-star corner, Albert Hill, committed to USC today. Yeah. I guess this isn't a shock. He had come through Columbus a lot, didn't really visit OSU this spring. Instead, he was going to USC. There was a draw. He scheduled an official visit to Ohio State for this summer. But why would you still take that if you've committed today? 5'10", $185 corner out of Akron, choosing USC over Ohio State, Oregon, and Bama. Now, this is where it would hurt. He is ranked as the number 1 recruit in Ohio. You're number 1 on the board in the state. You make the assumption that the draw to Columbus, especially coming off a natty, would be overwhelming to some. But like I said, it can be, the draw can be a number of things. I don't cover these guys. I don't talk to these guys. So I wouldn't know. But he wrote, his quote is, "I'm home. Fight on." So
I'm coming home.
Well,
listen,
he's leaving home.
Like you said, can't read these guys' minds. It could be so many different reasons as to why they make this move. Not going to crush Ohio State for this. You win some, you lose some.
They win most.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They got the number 1 player out of Ohio last year, Tavian St. Clair. You got the best corner in the country last year, and Devin Sanchez, who might be a right now player for you. And so these type of situations, I try not to overreact too much to it, because at the end of the day, what Ryan Day and his staff have shown us is that getting talent into the Woody Hayes facility and coming out of that tunnel on Saturdays at the shoe ain't a problem. And I don't think it's going to be a problem. And so USC right now in the 2026 cycle, they're cooking. They already have 26 commits in that class. So they are right now look to be the number 1 class in the nation. USC is number 1. TLC's Notre Dame Golden Domers are at 2. Clemson's 3. LSU 4. Penn State is 5. Ohio State is 6th, but they only have 11 commits in the 2026 class right now. So they still got a lot of work to do, and they're going to climb, I would think, their way into the top 5. They're already knocking at the door. But speaking of USC and a Big Ten coach, this might be the Big Ten coach with the most pressure on him this year is Lincoln Riley, to go out there and throw out a productive product, because, man, so much hype for him right? When he was named the head honcho out there, it's falling a little flat. So the recruiting stuff is one thing, but Lincoln Riley absolutely has to go out there and rack up dubs on Saturday for any of this stuff to matter.
We come back and we talk about Ryan Day. And in his sit-down interview, this was with Josh Pate. Is that right?
Josh Pate, yep.
He talked about just the dynamic of not only trying to retain your guys and recruit others, but the revolving door when it comes to assistants and dealing with that situation. It's always happened where you've had guys have had opportunities as assistants to be head coaches, but now you have kind of assistants jumping to be assistants at other places. Here he is on that.
I think now when you're dealing with the money that's out there, you have to start to take a step back and do what you just said, because there's just decisions that have to be made, and we all get it. But there's a competitive side to it, sure. I mean, that's still in play, but I think even in the last 5 years, you're just seeing the amount of money, even for assistant coaches and coordinators, change a lot, and so decisions have to be made, and guys got to do what's best for their for their families and things like that. So you understand that part of it, but there's also your loyalty and things like that, and you only have one name, and your character, and so there's this constant battle of that. I would say that's accurate, but I would say as the money has changed here in the last 5 years or so or more, you're just seeing more and more of those types of things that you have to move on from and just learn from and grow.
Let me give you a little taste of the reality of the situation. Matt Patricia, Ohio State's new defense coordinator, is going to make $2.5 million this year. That's $300,000 more than Jim Knowles' base salary, who was a part of the Natty. Mm-hmm. And so Brian Hartline's going to make $2 million. You could say he's underpaid based on the development and the recruiting that's been tabbed to him and credited to him. That's the same salary Chip Kelly got last year when he got promoted to OC. You have Tim Walton, who was promoted to co-defense coordinator, making $1.8. It's amazing. I mean, the money it's unbelievable. You start adding all this up, and this is the business that it is now, Maddie. It's crazy, the amount of money.
It really is. And, Jim Knowles is, I think, going to be at the forefront of a lot of Buckeye fans' minds, specifically with this topic, and him not only leaving, but staying in the conference and going to, in the eyes of some, is a thorn in the side of Ohio State. I'm not going to call them a rival based off of how things have gone since James Franklin took over, but yeah, Jim Knowles, there was stuff out there, true or not, that maybe in-house Jim and some other defensive coaches weren't seeing eye to eye on schematics and who should be playing and how much they'd be playing and all of that stuff. Again, don't know if that's true or not, but James Franklin, Penn State, they come to the table with a 3-year contract that's going to reportedly average right around $3.1 million for Jim Knowles. It's a big payday. It's a big payday for a defensive coordinator. He's the highest paid defensive coordinator in the sport right now. So he's got to live up to that on that side of things. That's going to be a great storyline to talk about when we get to that game and when Penn State comes into Columbus that year. But yeah, as Coach Day talks about too, it's just a competitive fire in you as well. Like if you're Coach Day, like you want to leave, but not only leave, go in the conference and go over there with James Franklin. I can't wait to see what that looks like. But this is the good thing when you're a guy like Coach Day, is that you have these relationships with others and experienced guys. We saw it last year with Chip Kelly. We're seeing it again with Matt Patricia. Patricia and Day don't have that same history that Kelly and Day have, so we'll see how it pays off. But what you're getting at Matt Patricia is a guy that's been around the block, and hopefully he can put all this thing together and it can happen sooner rather than later.
Just did a little quick math.
Yeah.
Ohio State assistant coaches' salaries for this season adds up to what? I'll let you guys guess. The assistant coaches.
Say 15, 20 million?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys.
Somewhere in that range, 15, 20?
Give me a number.
I'm going to say half a Texas football roster.
Where are they at over there?
I need a number.
16.5.
Okay.
I said anywhere between 15 to 20. That's where I think it falls.
Yeah, but you got to give me a number so we can find out who's closer.
17. I don't know.
All right.
Oh, geez, Price is right. Thanks.
I never believed in that. That's the stupidest rule in the history of television. Closest should win all the time. This whole going over, you lose crap. If I'm a penny over or a dime or a dollar, 15, 150.
Okay.
15 mil 150.
Yeah.
Now
I
let's
had a theme
add
song ready. I'd play it right now for myself.
Now let's add 12.5 million.
What do you know? I do have one. I didn't even mean that.
So Maddie, I just added 12.5 million Ryan Day's salary.
Oh, yeah.
And that gets us to a grand total of $27,650,000 for this season on coaching.
There's no sticker shock for me, AR.
No.
Because they're not the only program doing that. We could probably do that for Texas and Bama.
This isn't.
That's what I'm saying. That's just the sport. There's so much money out there right now. Players.
Look what they deliver.
These TV dollars. Like, yeah, it's what you got to do. It's the game
We
you
don't
got to
care how much it costs. We just care how much it makes.
There you go.
That's today's Buckeye Bulletin. All right, we come back with a deep dive. And this team won the draft, according to one analyst. Will it surprise you? Find out next. Rothman and Ice in the Fan.
If the sound of another man slammed against plexiglass turns you on, you've come to the right place. Proud to be your home for Jackets hockey. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, where we've successfully treated thousands of men for low testosterone and helped them feel like their old selves again. Please take a moment and listen to how we help Billy.
Hi, I'm Billy Hatcher, a former professional baseball player, and I'm a patient at Tri-State Men's Health. Before I started the treatment, it was like my body was sore all the time, and I was feeling very, very sluggish. One day, I would be full of energy, and the next day it was like, where did all my energy go? And since I've started, my body hasn't felt this good in a long time. I feel like, I'm not 21 to 25 again. It's just been great. I feel very, very comfortable coming here. When you have the energy, it's amazing. You get to do so many other things that you couldn't do prior to that. If you're tired of hurting in the mornings, you want to improve your health, you want to feel better, give a call to Tri-State Men's Health. I promise you, you will feel better.
Thanks, Billy. It's true. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
This year, we considered hiring an ad agency to help with our marketing.
They pitched impressive visuals and a script that was inspiring.
And exotic animal mascots to help grab your attention.
In the end, we just decided to tell it to you straight. Shelter Insurance has award-winning customer service at affordable rates.
Plus, our local agents are there to help you understand what coverage you need.
To find an agent near you, visit shelterinsurance.com and switch today.
Hey, it's Anthony. You know what the slogan is at the Good Feet store? Good feet, good life. Friends have asked me, how are my personally fit arch supports different from the inserts and insoles they can buy online or in department stores? There are big differences. My Good Feet arch supports are designed to provide me firm yet flexible function. What does that do? They actually help correct poor foot biomechanics, which leads to providing me long-term pain relief. I was also the guy who thought, well, if I buy good shoes, my feet won't hurt. It wasn't a bad thought. A lot of people think shoes are always the problem, when in reality, it's often the foot that goes into the shoe that's the real source of discomfort. When I got my personally fit Good Feet arch supports, my feet felt stabilized. The pain and discomfort went away. For more than 30 years, the Good Feet store has helped thousands of people just like me discover the comfort they've been dreaming of. They're on Stringtown Road in Grove City or Polaris Parkway. Learn more at goodfeet.com.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. T&Cs apply.
Watching Clorox cleanup spray dissolve tough grime in the shower feels like...
Wait, this really just happened? I'm shocked. Underwear and everything?
It feels like being able to zip up your overpacked suitcase on the first try.
Smooth.
With Clorox, clean feels satisfying. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay, things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Every great team has its core players, but when the season gets tough, adding the right free agent can make all the difference. The same goes for business. At Robert Half, we found that 67% of companies surveyed plan to increase their use of contract talent to handle workload peaks and backlogged projects. With Robert Half's specialized recruiters' experience, combined with our award-winning AI, you can quickly find the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, we know talent. Discover how we can help at roberthalf.com/talent.
The playoffs are in full swing, and you can get in on all the action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest game-changing moments to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code JOEQ, J-O-E-Q, to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good afternoon. I'm Ryan Baker. NBA Hall of Fame head coach Greg Popovich is stepping away from coaching. He will transition into the team's director of operations role. Assistant Mitch Johnson will take over as head coach. The Cincinnati Reds starting a home series with the Washington Nationals at 6:10 this evening. Hunter Green versus Mitchell Parker, the pitching matchup. You can hear that one over on the Fans HD3 beginning at 5:40. The Cleveland Guardians head north of the border to face the Toronto Blue Jays at 7:07. Logan Allen gets the start for the Guards opposite Chris Bassett. The Buckeye baseball team starts a home series with that team up north at 6. You can hear that one over on ESPN Columbus. We've got a Game 6 in the NBA playoffs as the Golden State Warriors host the Houston Rockets at 9. A Game 6 in the Stanley Cup playoffs, too. St. Louis hosts Winnipeg at 8. Breaking sports news as it happens on The Fan.
Most shows just skim the surface, but Rothman and Ice feel like the biggest story of the day deserves a closer look. It's time for a deeper dive.
Sponsored by Low T Center. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
All right, back at it. Final hour of the program. Hope you're dodging the rain out there. Wherever you are, be careful. We'll have Jensen Lewis on at 2:30. Little chin music. Guards a game and a half back of Detroit. Reds 2 back of the Cubbies. So we'll get his take on the series for this weekend. I saw the Browns are keeping a vet, and I guess this kind of limits the likelihood of re-signing another at running back. Jerome Ford is taking a pay cut from $3.5 million to a guaranteed $1.75.
Okay.
That just coming down.
So we got to pour one out for Nick Chubb in his Cleveland Browns career. It's a wrap.
They also drafted a pair of running backs.
Yeah, that was all the evidence I needed to see.
Of course.
Now you brought that to the table with Jerome Ford, and I think they're okay with moving on from Nick Chubb, and I think that's the right call. I think that's the right call. Tremendous stuff from Chubb in the Browns uniform. It will never be forgotten, right? Running back stuff. You had Jim Brown, you had Nick Chubb, you've had some other guys at that position play well for the franchise. He will be in that handful of elite running backs in the history of the Browns franchise because he was just an absolute monster. But with the injuries that have stacked up over the last few years, he just hasn't looked like the same guy. Maybe he will be that guy. Maybe this will come back to haunt them. But I do think with the additions now of Quinshon Judkins from Ohio State and Dylan Sampson from Tennessee, you've got guys that give them a future at that position, and it just didn't seem like they had that with the guys that they had in-house. And so Ford can be a vet that those two guys look to, but I hope that Quinshon and Dylan will be focal points and major factors in that running back room or coming out of that running back room, because that's what we've seen, Nick. You hit on a couple guys in the draft at that position that are young, that just adds more pop to your offense. And so, yeah, the Nick Chubb era to me is over, and I think that's okay, and I think that is the right move to make at the moment for this franchise.
Well, first of all, I'll answer a lot of times my own question, and that is Chubb's not coming back to haunt you. He's not in any real crazy sense, like of a future sense, where could he
be in the top 5 guy in the league?
Yeah. He's going to have flashes. He's going to be signed by a team to support an already good starter, have a little depth. Maybe he could be a inside the 5-yard line kind of guy, but he's not the all-pro he once was. Everybody knows that through no fault of his own. It's injuries. And he was, I looked this up real fast, 3.3 yards per carry from 2024. And now you're another year removed, another year older. Now, I guess I'm not calling him old. He's 29, I think, maybe going to be 30. Yeah, 29, going to be 30. What I'm saying is, even if he had a solid year or 2, I wouldn't view that as coming back to haunt you. No.
And he would have to go on. The only way to me it would be a haunting is if we see him do what Saquon Barkley did. Go to a team, be the MVP of that team, help that team win significant games. Wouldn't even have to be a Super Bowl, right? But if Chubb is that type of guy for a team, then that's a swing and a miss. But I don't see that happening.
Let me reduce it even to like something more elementary. The other way he could come back to haunt you in a short term is he gets signed by a rival. You play him twice. He has 2 good games against you. And then you know what your reaction to that is? Thank you. We wanted to lose. You didn't want to win. Enjoy the victories and a worse draft pick. And I'm talking specifically about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Both teams really shouldn't want to win. So let's say that Chubb was signed by the Steelers and he had 2 good games or scored 3-4 touchdowns against you and had those just finite moments where it looked weird. Chubb, Steeler uniform, black and gold, and he's spiking the football on you. Okay, in that moment, it would feel awkward. But in the end game, you'd be like, cool, good for you. I liked you anyway. I'm rooting for you. And your team got the victory. We're hoping to tank. It all works out. The other team that I thought about was, because we've been talking about the Packers in the last half hour here, is maybe them. They still have Josh Jacobs, right?
Yes.
Go after him. Go to a team that has a no-worry starter, right? And all of a sudden get a depth piece there. Now, the other thing about Jacobs, the amount of snaps he plays is amazing, so they're probably going to need some of that depth. But that could be something there. Jacobs and Chubb, assuming that you're getting Nick for a fairly decent contract.
I like where you're at with pairing him with a guy that can carry the bulk of the weight at this point, right? Because you want to ease Nick Chubb into whatever situation he's in. And if you're a playoff team, it's all about the long game, right? And having him ready to go for the postseason, and he could be that impactful team. Like, I look at a team like Buffalo, and depending on what happens with James Cook, right? Because he's kind of doing this, hey, I'm not happy, I want new money type of thing.
It's a lot of money.
Even if he does re-sign, like, I wouldn't be upset with him going to Buffalo. Like, for me, if I'm Nick Chubb, that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the contenders and a team or two that can make me that 1B. In the running back room and trying to hop on that moving train. There was some stuff out there that Kansas City was doing their homework on some of the running backs in this draft as well, right? They had that meeting with Travion. I don't know if they drafted a running back at any point in time right now, but that's the move if I'm Nick Chubb. Let's go to a contender. Let's hop on a moving train and see if I can get me a chip.
You talking about the Bills?
No, the Chiefs. Did they draft a running back at all this year?
I know the Bills didn't.
Okay.
I'll check I thought the Chiefs might, but I don't know if they did, Matty. That's a good question.
Let me see if I can pull this up, big dog.
KC's draft
see
picks.
What they did. AR right now for the Kansas City Chiefs, Josh Simmons was their first round pick. There was a running back.
They did a lot in the trenches.
Yeah, they did.
I know that.
7th round, they grabbed a guy, Brashard Smith from SMU. Okay. So we'll see what he is. But they didn't spend a valuable draft pick
on a running
back.
Okay. Was there a pick that you loved? One or two, like you just absolutely loved, like you said, wow, like that's because there are a couple that actually I didn't.
Oh, okay. I'd love to hear this.
Like I didn't love the Saints getting Tyler Shuck. I feel like it was a 2nd round pick, right?
They drafted him in the 2nd round. Yeah. 1st round AR, they did draft Kelvin Banks, the tackle from Texas. Remember, because they had the baby next to him, the baby that was thrown up next to him. Somebody help the baby.
Thrown around.
Help this baby out. Come on.
You and I saw the same exact thing. The claps and then the arm just hitting the baby in the head.
Like a bobblehead.
Yeah.
Come on.
I guess I'm looking at it this way.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you that Tyler Shuck can't be a good quarterback. What I'm saying is I think there was better value than in the second round taking a soon-to-be 26-year-old quarterback that isn't an automatic. I would have rather taken a chance on Milroe or Sanders. Like, at that point, if you're looking for value. Now, their board is their board. And like I said, they evaluate them better than I can. I thought it was a little bit interesting for them to do that when it was already considered a down year for quarterbacks already. And wouldn't they have been better off using pick number 40 to add youth to they got an aging defense. They selected a 26-year-old quarterback.
The age doesn't bother me as much as his injury history.
Yeah, that too.
That bothers me more than his age. But I see where you're at. I'm going to stay in the same division. And my head scratcher was the Falcons trading back into the first round to grab James Pierce and giving up a first-round pick next year to do it. That's not what I thought was a good move. They traded with the Rams. With their first pick in the draft, they drafted Jalen Walker from Georgia, who's a good player, 15th overall. I'm good with that. But Pierce?
You didn't like Pierce?
Pierce was tabbed as the number one player in college football last year by ESPN prior to the season kicking off. There's questions about his desire, how much he loves the game. Like, I didn't think he was a very impactful game in just the one game against Ohio State. I know it's a sample size. He was just okay to me there. But they've been hunting down pass rushers for a while. Back to their pick of Vic Beasley out of Clemson years ago. They haven't had that. I just thought they gave up too much.
Okay.
To do that. Like, I don't know if Pierce to me was worth giving up another one of our future first-round picks.
So what you're saying is Jeff Ulbricht's son should have pranked him.
Yes.
Instead of having the real call, he deserved the prank
Correct.
call.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the head scratcher for me. Is coming back in to get Pierce.
The
Jr.
reason that it's not a head scratcher for me is for what you said earlier, which is this is the team. Atlanta was near the bottom of the league in sacks last year, and they've been pretty desperate to.
But you like giving
have
up
a priority.
a one to get them? That's where they lose me.
I don't love that.
That's where they lose me, AR.
Yeah, but they got to get that defense.
If I'm giving up a one, I'm giving up one to get a quarterback.
So they sent 46 and 242. Along with, as you say, their 2026 first rounder.
Yeah.
And they got back pick 26 and an additional third at 101.
That ain't it.
Yeah.
From the Rams. I see why you made that move.
They must have thought that he was going to be the guy. Or because he lands in a really good situation for him, I think.
Opportunity,
but
yes.
It's the cost is what you're saying.
Yeah,
I get it.
Too rich.
All right. We will come back, and we'll actually play for you the analyst that says this team won the draft. We'll see if you'll be surprised. That's next. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
We're the girthiest radio station in the history of radio. Uncomfortably girthy. This promo is uncomfortable. The Fan, Ohio's girth destination.
Did you ask about Pick 3 from the Ohio Lottery? Okay. Pick 3 is a daily draw game where you pick 3 individual numbers between 0 and 9 that can be played straight, where numbers must be drawn in an exact order or boxed where they can be drawn in any order. You can win hundreds, and wagers start at only 50 cents. Want to learn more? Okay, go to OhioLottery.com or the Ohio Lottery app. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Aaron, I love that we fix ACs for free.
I don't think we do that, Jerry.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Stay with me, Aaron. I'm going to explain to you how it works.
You're going to explain to me how my own invention works?
Get Eco.
ECO.
Step 1. Some other HVAC company tells a customer that they need a whole new system.
Yes.
And then they call us.
They can always call us, Jerry.
Get Eco.
ECO.
And then we repair their system for free.
No, then they pay us.
But we give the money back, right?
We give them back all the money they paid us to fix their old system when they finally do need a new one.
Up to $1,500, right?
Right.
Aaron, we're fixing HVAC systems for free.
Get Eco.
ECO.
We extend the life of their system.
That's right.
Those extra years are free. On me.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Eco. Plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians. GetEco.com.
This is This Date in Reds Baseball with team historian Greg Rhodes.
Today, May 2nd, marks the date that the very first home run was ever hit by a Cincinnati Red after the club began play in the National League. It happened back in 1876, the first year of the NL, and it was hit by outfielder Charlie Jones. Now, Jones was one of the first real stars in Reds baseball, a flashy dresser, and one of the local clothing stores paid him to walk around town in their suits, leading one newspaper to call him the Knight of the Limitless Linen. Charlie Jones, Reds outfielder and one of the very best players in the early days of the National League, who hit the first home run in Reds history on May 2nd, 1876, this date in Reds baseball.
This Date in Reds Baseball is brought to you by the Cincinnati Reds Hall of Fame and Museum, presented by Dinsmore. Celebrating greatness, preserving history, providing inspiration.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
Legend has it, underneath the NJM insurance offices lies a room of rejected mascot memorabilia. Is it real? No one knows. But we do know NJM is proud to put policyholders first. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance.
Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries.
All your favorite and least favorite fan shows are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just type in 971 The Fan to the search bar and hit that subscribe button. It's free.
We're the land of the free and the home of the sunburnt, freckled fat guy.
Do it now.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
More scattered showers and storms this afternoon. Some could be gusty, so stay weather aware. Temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. We'll watch rain chances turn to storms again tonight. Some that could be strong to severe. Better chance, in fact, in the afternoon. 10 TV Weather Impact Alert Day will be in place. Rain chances and 60s continue through the weekend. Lingering showers next week. That's your latest 10 Weather Impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365, the official online sports book of Rothman and Ice. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Rothman and Ice present Free Snap Leads.
Sponsored by Newman Roofing. Call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF. That's 614-NEW-ROOF. Or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
All right, Bet365 time.
Let's do it, because at Bet365, folks, we don't do ordinary. Bet365 is the official sports betting partner of the Cleveland Guardians. And if you are a new customer, they've got a great new sign-up offer just for you. You bet $5, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to get $150 in bonus bets, whether your bet wins or loses. So make sure you're checking out their easy-to-use website and also their easy-to-use app as well. So download the Bet365 app today. You got your eye on, big dog.
Something weird.
Yeah?
As usual. I feel like I'm going to bet a little bit on the Miami Grand Prix, the F1 race.
Interesting.
And the only reason is because Max Verstappen had a baby with his model girlfriend. And so I'm wondering if there is even more inspiration. You know how you bet the dude who has the kid to hit a home run? Like that.
The dad strength.
Yeah, the dad. And I'm wondering if Max, whose baby girl has arrived right before the Miami GP, is enough for me to say, let's take the four-time F1 champ and bet him to win the Grand Prix at 5-1.
Okay. I like it. I'm going to a Game 7 in the NBA. This game will be tomorrow night in Denver. Clippers and Nuggets. Jokic is going to be on one. He's not ready to go home and ride those horses just yet. I'm going with a triple-double for Nikola Jokic at plus 140. The Joker, give me the juice, plus 140 for yes for a triple-double for Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Again, download the Bet365 app today. 21 plus only, must be present in Ohio. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. Offer subject to meeting qualifying criteria.
And may the odds be ever in your favor.
All right, I just saw this before we play the analyst on the draft winner.
Yeah.
That this goes against our theory that Jimmy Haslam stuck his beak in at, late in the draft and said, wait a minute, Shadour's still out there? And this report says that Andrew Berry worked hard to trade up for Sanders. This is through ESPN. And that Berry began trying to move up and get Sanders beginning late in the draft's 4th round. And eventually they got him. They were able to move up early in the 5th to get him at 144. So why did the Browns target Sanders at that point? And they're reporting that one Brown source believed, quote, many teams had a day 2 grade on Sanders, and that another was surprised that Sanders fell into day 3, and that made our selection a no-brainer. Well, if he was a day 2 grade, and now he's available at pick 94, why didn't you take him then? You like Dylan Gabriel better. Just say it.
They're not moving me off my belief.
We felt like it wasn't necessarily the plan going into the weekend to select 2 quarterbacks. We'd heard that bite. So he's looking at it as this wasn't he just kind of fell, that they had been working hard to trade up for him anyway. This feels like a lot of revisionist history now that the results are in. They're just trying to make it look as good as possible.
Exactly,
but nothing's going to change the fact that they took a quarterback before they took him.
Yeah, I'm not buying that. They got to get that out there. I'm not buying it, though.
Let's hear from Mike Tannenbaum on his draft winner.
Mr. T, who had the draft that you absolutely loved? Who killed it over the weekend?
The Cleveland Browns, and the Cleveland Browns. And probably for the player they didn't pick, having Jacksonville's first-round pick next year, I love the player, Travis Hunter. I hated the value for Jacksonville, and here's why. When you're picking in the top 5 and you have a quarterback, you have a million holes. There's a reasonable chance Jacksonville doesn't make the playoffs next year. And when we're talking about Arch Manning and countless other players, you don't know, Trevor Lawrence may not work out. They may be able to draft Arch Manning in Cleveland because Trevor Lawrence doesn't work out. What happens if there's a great pass rusher? That first-round pick next year, you have no idea how valuable that's going to be. And then to turn around and get Mason Graham, who's a really good player, and then get Carson Schlesinger, get Dylan Sampson, Quinshon Judkins, and obviously, to get Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round, he has a reasonable chance to be their starting quarterback. I think could be a draft for the ages.
A draft for the ages.
Mike T talking that talk.
Now, it's kind of weird because he's talking about the draft for the ages because of them being able to get that first rounder next year and then leaning in the quarterback spot, or maybe they found their quarterback this year. Would you give him an A+ on paper? I think from a volume shooting standpoint, yeah, I would take some points away for the double quarterback, but I know that they're needy there. Listen, I've seen grades on the Giants at A+. If Jackson Dart doesn't turn out to be a great quarterback, that A+ goes to a D-.
Well, unless the other guys in the class hit,
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yes, but if you're gonna draft a first-round quarterback, if he's a bust, but all right. So Tannenbaum says bask in the glow of the draft.
I like what they did outside of the quarterback stuff. I really do. I'm all in on the running back situation. You pair Mason Graham with Myles Garrett as an interior presence on that D line that can clog up some lanes in the run game. Hopefully create some pressure in the pass game as well. There's some people that like this. Carson Swessinger, linebacker from UCLA, too, and Harold Fandon Jr., the tight end from Bowling Green, led the nation in receiving yards last year. So they needed impactful players on offense. It seems like they have that with Fandon Jr. and Quinshon Judkins and Dylan Sampson. And then Mason Graham, I am never going to push back on teams taking swings on guys in the trenches. Like, that's where the games are won. And you have a dominant force down there already. You can make life easier for Myles Garrett with a guy offensive lines have to respect in Mason Graham. And so I do think they had a good draft. Just the head scratcher for me is the quarterback stuff. Like, I'll never get it. And I don't care what they tell me. It doesn't make sense to me.
No, I'm okay with going offense heavy at the end there. It's just you wind up taking 2 quarterbacks in your final 3 picks. And so you're kind of telling us that you're not really sure which one is better. The Quinshon and Dylan Sampson, I mean, it's pretty solid from a talent standpoint.
I like it.
Can't argue with that. But the reason he's saying it's the draft of the ages is not necessarily all the players they took, because we don't know if they're all going to work out, especially the quarterbacks. But it was the value. It was getting that extra second-round pick and Jacksonville's 2026 first-rounder, which is equal to the 10th pick. So from a value standpoint, if you just go on charts and analytics, they hit a home run.
Yep.
Now they got to make it work.
Okay, that's the other part. I'm glad you said that. Like, it's great to have these draft picks, but the most important thing is hitting on it.
I win the draft every year in fantasy here. What's that got me the last few years?
Heartbreak.
Want to quit.
TLC, you a big fantasy football guy?
Yeah, I was drafted in my Dynasty League yesterday during the show.
So this is going to get interesting now because
Dynasty League.
I wonder if CB will still play in this league or will he hand his slot over to TLC? Because it's a 14-team league, so we're not adding
Maybe
two
if you
more than
ask him
16.
nicely, Phil Sims, you might be able to get his slot.
Yeah, what if he Lawrence Taylor's me?
Hey, you know, I might give you my spot in the league this year. Yeah, he could take my spot. I'll take a year off. Take the Jordan year, go play baseball and come back. Go play for the Barons.
I think we may have to fight over that.
You want out.
I was going to say, you guys can both keep it.
Oh, man.
Listen, we talk about it like we hate it. We hate it for most of the time, but we truly do love it. It's just, there's nothing that's more frustrating.
All right, well, I got to tell the truth for myself. A little preview. Tell the truth. I can't focus on more than one fantasy league and take any of them as seriously as the one.
It's two max.
There's always one. Yeah. There's always a favorite kid for me.
I'm 0. I used to do that. Done. I'm one team. That's it. I can't keep the waiver wire straight. I can't keep any of that.
No.
Not doing it. I'm ride or die with one team.
I'm only doing 2, fellas. That's it. And,
I'm a one-party candidate.
I did 3 one year.
Or no, one-issue candidate.
It was a mess.
3?
Yeah, it was an idiotic mistake by me.
You drafting Caleb Johnson number 1 overall?
No, I didn't have a first-round pick this year.
I'm talking about, in your dynasty. Okay.
Oh.
All right. I'm just thinking where you're going to have him there. All right, we're going to come back with our boy J. Lou. Toss some chin music. Get you ready for the weekend in baseball. That's next. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
Thinking about buying your first home? Now, with Third Federal, you can buy your first home and pay no PMI. Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. And you may not realize PMI doesn't protect you. It only protects the lender in case of default. But at Third Federal, you can buy a home with just 5% down and no PMI. Plus, first-time home buyers get $750 off of closing costs. So if you're thinking about buying your first home, go for it and visit thirdfederal.com.
Even before you find a home, lock in 6.50%, APR 6.56% on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase mortgage. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-3RD-FED today. APR reflects 15% down for $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restrictions apply. See conditions for closing cost coupon at thirdfederal.com/FTHB. Equal housing lender.
Watching Clorox cleanup spray dissolve tough grime in the shower feels like...
Wait, this really just happened? I'm shocked. Underwear and everything?
It feels like being able to zip up your overpacked suitcase on the first try.
Smooth.
With Clorox, clean feels satisfying. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Rothman and Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Crowd the plate at your own risk. It's time for some chin music with former big leaguer and president of the Bald is Beautiful fan club, Jensen Lewis.
Sponsored by Logan AC and Heat Services. Don't go through another air conditioner breakdown. For fast, friendly service, call the experts at Logan Services now for a free estimate and next day air installation.
Yeah, that's right. This man lives the life that I dream about. He is traveling, I believe, to the City of Stars. I don't know if he's going to run into The Rock or Stallone or Gloria Estefan or Andy Garcia or anybody else that pals around in Coral Gables. And maybe he'll even make an appearance at the Miami Grand Prix. He is the one and only Jensen Lewis. My man, are you traveling today?
Yes, boys, we can always find some time to do this from the airport. It feels like it's becoming a weekly tradition here. But, yeah, it's going to be fascinating just seeing how it all, shakes out from the Grand Prix celebrities and everyone that'll be there. But excited to get down there and see what's going on.
All right, give me your take on Manzardo. I have him in fantasy. He has been feast or famine. He's only owned in like 30% of my league, which is weird, and maybe that's because the league doesn't really know that much about him. But he is a guy that I'm going to stick with because I just feel like the power is always there. But am I going to struggle with this batting average for the rest of the year? Because I'm going to tell you right now, Manzardo is hitting, he's up to 223 now, but he's got the eight dingers. So give me your take on Kyle Manzardo right now.
Yeah, he was a mid-round draft for me, AR, and honestly someone that I thought was going to be a great stash to see if he could be someone that could get into that top 15, top 20 first base productivity area. If he continues this way with the slug, then I think he's a shoo-in for it. I think he's at least 25 home runs, if not more. But ultimately, you're right. It's that batting average. And I think as you kind of get back into maybe seeing some of the division outside of Detroit and their pitching, I think he'll be fine. I mean, he's been great at home, and now a pretty critical road trip here because the offense is going to need to perform a bit better than they did against Minnesota.
J. Lou, how you feeling about the back end of this bullpen? I know I asked you last week about, the whole Class A situation and what that looks like with Smith, maybe taking over some of those save opportunities. But now a week removed from that, your thoughts on the bullpen?
Yeah, Matty, it's actually kind of evened itself out a little bit, right? And I know that's why we preached that overreaction month, fortunately, is now over from April. But you kind of look to the back of the baseball card now for some of these veteran guys. And the hope would be is that everything returns to normal. And it feels like we're through maybe the dark parts of the forest, if you will, and we've got some light at the end of the tunnel for a couple of those guys.
The other guy that I wanted to ask you about down I-71 is Matty McClain. Currently 8 for 67 to start the year. That's batting a robust 119. And I know it's early and all that, but I do have some concerns.
It feels like just needs kind of that 2-week stretch, AR, where, he really gets great bat to ball. We've yet to really see that. And I think, honestly, just playing some catch-up after missing as much time as he did last year. You ask any hitter what's the most difficult part. It's not just getting through spring training and feeling good about yourself. It's being able to see, okay, when everyone hits that next gear and they start really coming after you day in and day out. So, I would put the same confidence level on Matty McClain as I would with Manzardo, that, yes, the average doesn't look great right now, but just from a productivity standpoint and the way their swing and bat path is, I think both those guys have a breakout coming forward.
J. Lou, we've had two guys over the last few years that can be tabbed as the best at what they do that just cannot stay healthy. One of them is Jacob deGrom, and one of them is Mike Trout. And now here we are again with Mike Trout having to miss some time due to an injury, second in the league in home runs, as you know. But, man, this guy's career, he just hasn't had the injury bug get out of his way, and the same thing's happening again, unfortunately, for him.
It really is, Matty, and it's a great way to illustrate it. He just can't get out of his own way. And you guys know when I played with Grady Sizemore, it was a similar thing where the talent was abounding, right? I don't know if G-Size would ever get to, the heyday of a healthy Mike Trout and the Hall of Fame seasons that he put together for those 4 to 5 years. But, yeah, it's frustrating because the game is better when Mike Trout is healthy, and it's unfortunate because, yet again, here we go. Last year he comes out to the huge lead with home runs and then has the injury that pretty much sidelines him for the majority of the rest of the season. You hope that this is a shorter injury stint for him because the Angels, it felt like they took a step forward with a couple of the offensive pieces they have now, and it'd be great to get him back in the lineup for sure.
I see the Cubs have stolen 44 bases. But I'll ask it this way. Are they the best offense in the major leagues right now?
God, AR, I was looking at those numbers too, and it kind of was eye-popping to see that they've almost hit 200 runs thus far. And, when you think about just playing a month and change of baseball, that's like L.A. Dodger numbers that we're used to seeing. So I think they're a good offense. I'm anxious to see when they go into that first slump, how long is that slump, and who's the guy that ultimately gets them out of it? If it is Kyle Tucker, that's what you pay him to do. That's why you acquire him. But remember, guys, I don't know if people realize, they were really serious in the market to trade Seiya Suzuki this offseason, and to see that the byproduct of not having an interested trade partner has really benefited them from the top of that lineup with Ian Happ. So I think they're an offense that's here to stay, certainly top 4, top 5 the way they're going. But you're right, AR, that speed element has given them a lot more length at the bottom. You're thinking Nico Horner, you're thinking Dansby Swanson, and even more so having Pete Crow Armstrong now, who has just been off on an absolute tear to start the year. So a lot more athletic, I think, through the entirety of the lineup, and definitely some staying power for sure.
I want to bring it back to the AL Central with you, J. Lou, and ask you about these Detroit Tigers. First team in the American League to get to 20 wins, 13-3 at home. How are they putting this together? What's going on up there in Detroit right now?
Yeah, Matty, I mean, it's a combination of things, and you hit it. The offense, I think, was the one thing we looked at headed into this year and asked the question, can they improve significantly enough to be able to be into contention, not just to go back and either win a division or get deeper into the postseason, but ultimately you're looking at trying to take down a New York Yankee team, a Boston Red Sox team. Heck, even the way guys, the Seattle Mariners now all of a sudden have a pulse offensively. So, it's great to see. It's fun to watch. Second best run differential in the American League right now by a pretty significant margin over Seattle. So the pitching has always been the calling card, or at least has in the last couple of years, and that has really come back strongly with that offense.
We've always talked on this program about guys that come back to haunt teams, when they trade them and all that. When you saw that Eugenio Suarez became only the 19th player, I think, in the history of baseball to hit 4 home runs in a game, did you start to revisit in your mind the Tigers, Reds, and that move like 10 years later?
I started to think back, guys, as I'm sure Matty remembers, when you had a Nick Castellanos, a Gino Suarez down there at the Great American Launching Pad, and those were lineups that you wanted no part of because they could leave it at any point and put crooked numbers on you. So I think that's been the one thing about Gino is that he's had staying power wherever he's gone. And you look at it at Arizona, it was really tailor-made for guys to take another step forward offensively, but it's been around the league. It hasn't just been National League pitching that he's taken care of. He's done it to American League arms as well.
One team that's always had high-end talent, J. Lou, and this is the San Diego Padres. They've kind of been like the little brother out there, right, with the Dodgers just being that dominant force, but here they are. They're pitching. They're hitting. We got Tatis and all those guys. But the Padres, J. Lou, something to watch out for. What do you think of them right now?
I totally agree, Matty. I think that they're the scariest team right now because they have yet to really get things going from a continuity standpoint in that lineup. And the back end of their bullpen, they may have the best overall bullpen in baseball right now, the way they've all performed. And their rotation outside of Michael King what Pavetta's been able to do for them. You get Dylan Cease, who's going tonight, really moving in the right direction, and now all of a sudden you're really scary. So Mike Schilt, there's an edge to that group, guys. I mean, they really believe they're overlooked big time, and they were out in force this spring training to go ahead and prove people wrong. Well, guess what? Here we are, and I think they'll be a force to be reckoned with moving forward.
Where's the J-Lou Flash Cash going tonight?
All right, guys. So I look at a couple of different spots, and I felt that the Blue Jays got a little momentum last night with Vladdy Jr. hitting the go-ahead 3-run homer in the 8th inning. I think the Blue Jay run line, if you want to, take a little plus money gander at that, anywhere, I think plus $1.30 or better is a nice little spot there. Blue Jays on the run line. I do like the over in that Royals and Orioles game. I do believe the ballpark is going to play a little bit smaller. And, guys, keep speaking of Miami as I'm going down there, the Marlins and the Athletics, maybe two teams you're not looking at for an over. Gunnar Hoagland, who is the number 2 prospect there for the Athletics, makes his major league debut. We always like to attack young arms because it's always that adrenaline rush and trying to kind of keep your wits about you. But the Athletics offense, guys, have been very sneaky, like the over 9 in that game as well.
All right, my man. Safe travels. Enjoy it, buddy.
Amen, brother. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Send me some pics. That is Jensen Lewis on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fangast Hotline. You guys probably did touch on that on Monday, right, when I was out, the 4 home runs by Suarez?
No, it didn't.
Okay.
We were so draft heavy, you know that.
Yeah, that's right. Monday was post-draft, but the fact that I thought he might make it into party somehow. I was thinking of 4 home runs in one game.
He's always been near and dear to my heart. I hated giving him up. Got some decent stuff back in a couple trades there for Luis Castillo and Eugenio Suarez. But happy for him, right, that he's gone on, bounced around a couple spots. But, yeah, he's a banger in the middle of a lineup, man. He's been cooking. I'm happy for him.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
But the Tigers are the team that probably is going to regret it the most. They're the one that originally got him out of Venezuela and then sent him to you guys. All right, we come back with Tell the Truth next. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
Head to 971thefan.com to listen on demand and subscribe to all our podcasts. Wasting time has never been easier. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
When you're on the go, every minute counts. Meyer Home Delivery and Pickup helps you make the most of every second. Get all your weekly shopping done online, quickly and easily, from wherever you are, whenever you want. Have your Meyer order delivered to your home by the service awarded #1 in grocery delivery. Or pick it up yourself while out and about. Whatever works for your schedule. The good life is in reach with Meyer Home Delivery and Pickup. See Meyer.com for details.
Forever starts with the perfect diamond. Hi, it's Alex Johnson from The Diamond Seller, and for over 78 years, our family has helped generations of couples celebrate love with brilliance, quality, and unbeatable prices. At Diamond Seller, bigger diamonds and better prices are our promise to you. Whether you're popping the question or upgrading your sparkle, trust the experts. Because diamonds, they're our forte. Visit us at Diamond Seller on Sawmill Road or at Easton Town Center and learn more at diamondseller.com.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and, of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
Care Heating and Cooling. Honest technicians, honest pricing. Call 1-800-COOLING.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Legend has it, underneath the NJM insurance offices lies a room of rejected mascot memorabilia. Is it real? No one knows. But we do know NJM is proud to put policyholders first. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance.
Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries.
Guess what? Our ugly faces are on YouTube. Search 971 The Fan and watch all your favorite shows. Laptop, phone, tablet, smart TV, we're everywhere. Bring us in the bedroom with you. Yes, The Fan.
It's time for the Great Haircut Sale at your local Great Clips salon. Your chance to get a great haircut at an even greater price, just $7.99. And money's not all you'll save at Great Clips. When you use online check-in, you can save time too. So download our app today and hurry in for the $7.99 Great Haircut Sale at Great Clips. It's gonna be great. For a limited time at participating salons.
The $7.99 Great Haircut Sale runs May 3rd through May 9th.
Visit our Columbus area salons.
Guys, what's up? It's Matty Ice, and I'm here with Wendy's. And if you're looking for your next sandwich love, check out the Cajun Crunch Chicken Sandwich. This sandwich really has me feeling the heat, and it's packed with bold Cajun flavors that add that perfect little kick. Plus, it's topped with crispy onions that give it a satisfying crunch in every single bite. And did I mention this is all on top of Wendy's iconic spicy chicken sandwich? So if you love that, you have to get your hands on this Cajun Crunch Chicken Sandwich before it's gone. For that little extra kick, it's got to be Wendy's. Open until midnight or later.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Ohio Heating and Bryant. Doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Tell the truth with Rothman and Ice.
Sponsored by Window Nation. For all your window needs, visit windownation.com.
All right, take us home. Loose cannon.
All right. Hey, we had some news break within the past 24 hours, and it's about a topic that we spent a lot of time discussing yesterday, and that was Tyrese Halliburton's dad. It has come out that it's going to be an indefinite suspension. I believe it's phrased as from the Pacers, and he is not going to be allowed in the building indefinitely. That can mean one game. That can mean a whole season. I don't know, but tell the truth. What do you make of it?
I believe it's home and road games for the Pacers.
That's correct.
I saw. So, yeah, that works for me. You can't be out there acting the way that he was acting.
Acting a fool?
Yeah, exactly. Getting in players' faces, forehead to forehead. It's way too much. And this isn't the first time that he's been in the mix, apparently, with some stuff. I don't know if it was exactly what we saw from Giannis and John Halliburton there, but there's been people, agents, players around the league that have said this guy's doing way too much. And so you get in a situation like this and you've got a bad track record before that incident, you gotta learn a little bit. And so he gonna learn today. I like this call from the Pacers.
You're a little slow, but he got it.
Got it now.
All right, so here's my take on this situation. I think that they could have gone to him privately, the Pacers, and said, this is what we're going to do. But we're going to allow you to have it come from you. That you don't want to be a distraction to your son or the team anymore. You were in the wrong. I've apologized to Giannis. And as respect to my son and their team, I will no longer be attending games for the rest of the playoffs. The reason I don't think that happened is because he never would have agreed to that.
No.
And so that would have been the real high road thing to do. Now, the fact that the Pacers say it's indefinite and they didn't put a line on this thing.
Means he'll be back.
Well, it means he'll be back if they make the finals.
No, he'll be back because he's the star player's dad.
Back when? They knock off the Cavs?
Next year.
Oh, next year.
He'll be back.
So you're saying there's no room to move this year?
No,
I'm saying that if they make the finals, they might lift it.
Lift it this year.
Yeah.
Then he'll be back. I think in 2026 he will be back. I don't know if he'll be on the sideline, but I don't think this was a forever thing because they don't want to piss off Tyrese Halliburton.
Of course not. And at the end of the day, it's his dad, and he's going to have great emotion for him. But I think the reason why they had to go to we're suspending him is because he wouldn't agree privately to do it by himself. Because he easily could have said, I was in the wrong. I'm taking myself out of the mix. Go Pacers. I'll be rooting for my son and the team from a distance. And away you go. And since that didn't happen, I think they had to swoop in and say, you're gone.
Acknowledge me.
That's my tribal chief right there, Roman bleeping Reigns. You better get a part of. You're in on the bloodline.
I don't know about
You just
this.
throw up the one.
I know.
You want to be in the bloodline.
Memphis Reigns gone in 60 seconds.
You got the heavyweight champ right now in Jey Uso. Yeet. And at the end of the day, it all comes back to your tribal chief, my tribal chief, everybody and their mama's tribal chief, Roman Reigns.
Does Paul Heyman have theme music?
He does not. He's just the wise man. He just comes out and starts everything with ladies and gentlemen. Like, that's his music. When you hear that, he doesn't even have to be out there. You hear ladies and gentlemen, you know Paul Heyman's coming from behind the curtain.
All right, good enough for me. All right, Rothman, you mentioned just a couple seconds ago that you were interested in betting on a player because he just had a kid, which is a great thing to happen in life. Are you above betting on somebody, a player or a team, following a tragedy, thinking that they're going to be particularly inspired?
I ran into this situation not in an individual, but when my Vikes were playing the Rams and the horrible fires that were displacing everything, that the Rams had to leave and go to Arizona. And there were two ways to look at this. One, they're incredibly now separated emotionally from football. They've been displaced, their homes, their families, their friends. How are they going to focus on football? Is this something I need to take advantage of? And then I also looked at it.
That's a great way to say it.
I'm just saying, and the other way I looked at it was they're going to galvanize because they're going to win for their city. There are so many people suffering, and the Rams are going to play even better than they even thought they could. And so I recused myself also because I knew what the outcome was going to be anyway. And so I would be lying to you if I said I've never thought about it. But I can't remember ever doing it specifically.
I know you didn't bet on the Castellanos Pope home run.
I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did.
I thought you said it wasn't going to happen.
No, but I still bet on it.
Oh.
Yeah. I bet on it, but then I said to you it probably won't.
Counts.
It probably won't happen because everyone else was doing it. That's why I said it wasn't an under the radar thing anymore.
All right, so you too good for this?
Yeah. Not too good.
Whoa.
I'm not too good for it. It's just I don't think I would follow that trend if there is such a thing. I do think about, though, TLC, the Brett Favre game when his dad unfortunately passed away and he went out there and balled
best game
out.
ever for
He had
him.
almost 400 yards of 3-4 touchdowns in the game. So it can lock in certain guys. Isaiah Thomas, I believe, had a decent game or went out there and played pretty well when his sister passed away. So, look, you don't ever want to be in that situation, but we've seen guys go through tragedies like that and have that, game or practice or whatever take them away mentally from that and play well. But I always think about that Brett Favre game. He was locked in. He played well after his dad's unfortunate passing.
We can't wait to get the hell out of Cleveland, just like Myles Garrett.
What the heck?
Yeah.
And then
my goodness.
everybody's got a price, so that's another WWE thing. All right. It is National Montana Day. Anthony, do you think Bo Bishop gives you credit when he tells the story of the legendary bourbon that you hooked him up with, or do you think he takes the credit for himself?
Shout out to
I don't
Uncle
have
Bo.
enough time to tell the story. We may have to spill that into next week.
Oh, goodness.
We may have to swill that into next week.
And have Bo stay on after his show. You guys can go at it.
I'm sure. Oh, you're saying that you're saying that if somebody comes over to his palatial estate and there's a bottle of Pappy there that says to Bishop and Rothman that as the conversation flows, you're saying that he may say that he got it?
What happened was, as the story I was told, Rothman knows a guy, so technically Bo knows a guy who knows a guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
The great part of the story, real quickly, is that when Bo and I were doing the show together, I had a great time, and he dropped that no one can get this. Like, he talked about Pappy Van Winkle as no one gets this. You luck into it or whatever. And I'm sitting over in the chair and go, I can get it. It's like, what are you talking about? You can't. I go, I can get it.
Like, you know who my dad is?
No, it wasn't that. I didn't drop that.
You know who
my dad
is? It was more like, you know who I am.
That's that type of energy.
I'll tell the story Monday.
That's great.
It's a good one.
Hey, if you missed anything from our show, don't ever worry. You can always catch up because wherever you get your podcast, all you got to do is type in Rothman and Ice. Everything we do from noon to 3 will be waiting for you. Bet365 is the exclusive sports betting sponsor of the Rothman and Ice podcast.
And you know what the beauty of it is? that I knew my friend Bo would enjoy it a lot more than me. And that was the beauty of, that's the moral of the story. But I'll tell you the rest of the story.
Way to go, Paul Harvey.
On Monday. You're too young to know that reference.
Man and bone.
Well done. All right. We come back on Monday. Have a safe, great weekend. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
There's nothing Bo Bishop can't do well, except find competent co-hosts. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan.
It always seems to happen at the worst time. You're finally in bed after a long, hard day, and then you hear it. You sit up, heart sinking. Is that coming from the ceiling? All of a sudden, it's a middle of the night flashlight hunt to find the leak. But don't worry, Newman Roofing has you covered, literally. With more than 3 decades in the business, we've seen just about everything a storm can throw at a roof. Our teams know how to spot the problem, explain your options, and fix it right the first time, with craftsmanship and care you can feel good about. We're not just here for a quick patch job, and we never will be. We're here to make sure your home stays protected season after season. So when it comes to your roofing, siding, or gutter needs, choose the company you can trust, Newman Roofing. Call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF. That's 614-NEW-ROOF, or visit online at newmanroofing.com. Don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof.
Watching Clorox cleanup spray dissolve tough grime in the shower feels like...
Wait, this really just happened? I'm shocked. Underwear and everything?
It feels like being able to zip up your overpacked suitcase on the first try.
Smooth.
With Clorox, clean feels satisfying. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hey folks, it's Austin Ward here with a challenge. Well, a challenge might not be the best choice of words, so let's say an opportunity. Take the opportunity to lose 40 by the 4th with Awaken 180. Has a different ring to it when you have a finish line, doesn't it? 40 by the 4th. Maybe you looked at the scale this morning and it read 230 pounds. How about it reading 190 by the 4th of July? Maybe the scale says 300. Wouldn't the 260 number be a little nicer on your eyes and on your knees? It's attainable if you have the same results we all had with Awaken 180. I dropped 40 pounds in just 8 weeks. There's no reason you can't drop 40 by the 4th and be feeling as great as I still do now. Ring Independence Day in healthy, confident, and most important, feeling happy. You reached your goal with the help of Awaken 180. So fire up your grill and grab your beverage of choice because the weight's staying off thanks to free support for life. 40 by the 4th. Set your goal and reach it. Reserve your consultation online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Here's a look at what's going on around the ballpark with your Cincinnati Reds. The Reds are putting the finishing touches on the current road trip in Denver this weekend and will return home on Monday to begin a 7-game homestand, beginning with 4 with division rival St. Louis. Wednesday will be the first Bark in the Park night of the season, presented by Purina and Kroger. Visit Reds.com/Dog Day for details. The Washington Nationals follow the Cardinals and will be in town for the first Fireworks Friday of the season. After the game Friday night, stick around and enjoy a spectacular fireworks show presented by Columbia Chevrolet. Saturday, May 3rd is Star Wars night. The ballpark will turn into a galaxy far, far away to celebrate Star Wars with fans in attendance receiving a Reds Clone Trooper bobblehead presented by Skyline Chili. All giveaways are to fans in attendance while supplies last. That's a look at what's going on around the ballpark with your Cincinnati Reds.
Hey, it's Anthony. You know what the slogan is at the Good Feet store? Good feet, good life. Friends have asked me, how are my personally fit arch supports different from the inserts and insoles they can buy online or in department stores? There are big differences. My Good Feet arch supports are designed to provide me firm yet flexible function. What does that do? They actually help correct poor foot biomechanics, which leads to providing me long-term pain relief. I was also the guy who thought, well, if I buy good shoes, my feet won't hurt. It wasn't a bad thought. A lot of people think shoes are always the problem, when in reality, it's often the foot that goes into the shoe that's the real source of discomfort. When I got my personally fit Good Feet arch supports, my feet felt stabilized. The pain and discomfort went away. For more than 30 years, the Good Feet store has helped thousands of people just like me discover the comfort they've been dreaming of. They're on Stringtown Road in Grove City or Polaris Parkway. Learn more at goodfeet.com.